you don't necessarily, just the energy is enough to carry over. Did anybody do libations? You did all that? Was the drumming? Somebody did drumming in the area, so that's enough energy. Yeah. So now this is the new thing. Now this is the new thing, which is on one hand, this looks great. Like I told you, this looks great. I mean, you got. Anytime they got black people in the newspaper in color with pharaonic outfit on, that looks great. But as you know, this is the famous Imam Esau that originated out of New York. It is now down in Eatonton, Georgia. But what worries me is this particular paper. This is Cox. Now, if anybody heard Austin Maddox talk about, these were the same people that was instrumental in this whole thing with Wayne Williams and the whole interferon thing. You know the whole deal on that. But Cox is also some of the people is instrumental in the brother is not being able to get any type of hearings or anything, you know. It was instrumental in actually savaging the brother to the point whereas in 1981 when this whole thing went down with the Atlanta child murders, this is one of the biggest racist newspapers in the country. Not only is it racist, this is not just a fly-by-night thing. This is like Ted Turner. Cox, the Atlanta Journal and Constitution is run by Cox, and Cox has what is now called Rights to Entertainment. You've probably seen it on several TV shows now. Rights to Entertainment. They do talk shows, they do movies, and they own 15 newspapers. So even though they got Imam Esau up in here, and the title says racial, legal issues, Cloud Egypt, whatever the deal is, ultimately, you know that in actuality, since the whole Farrakhan thing has died down, you know, and they really can't get nobody to turn an eyebrow. This is the new man that they're going to pick on as the fountain piece for, or the poster child for all whatever they want to throw on black people. Now the new thing is cult, and now the FBI has already labeled him as this main cult thing. So as a result, he's going to be the poster child that they're going to whip up on for one reason. As I said, the other time is the only reason why they was able to whip up on Farrakhan back in the day was that Farrakhan never documented anything. See, even if you're not talking about anything that has anything to do with scholarship, so sometimes it might just be straight channels. The spirit realm can give our people stuff just for us to actually give, and sometimes it doesn't necessarily mean it is scholarship. But even if you are not talking about things on scholarship, you should at least add a book list or something, or mention some type of documentation and some white documentation for the simple doggone fact the government has this code. In character assassination, they feel that in actuality they can assassinate anybody's character. But just in case, if you put bibliography in your particular presentations, they don't want not only black people but white people going and getting a book and going, this means I can think for myself. So the key would happen with Farrakhan in the whole 1980s is Farrakhan never documented anything, so therefore they can use him and whip him all down. You see what I'm saying? So the other thing is Imam Esau now has they have a group, and they sit around a table and they take all the books, Zachariah Sitchin's book, Serious Mystery, and they take Zachariah Sitchin and different books, and they plagiarize those books and make these big holy tablets and all that. And then they attribute all that to Imam Esau. So the people that follow think that Imam Esau came up with all this particular information. You see what I'm saying? And so, but the key is, it's just like there was a brother that was up in here. As a matter of fact, the brother that Bert is staying with was in the organization and said that in actuality, you know, with the Afrocentric thing back in and you know when the Afrocentric thing was going late 80s, early 90s, he was basically Hebrew and Islamic. And there was a tape where he's attacking Dr. Ben. You know what I'm saying? And attacking Egypt, attacking Hemmitt, and attacking Dr. Ben. Now all of a sudden he's Egyptian. You see what I'm saying? But the brother, that was one of the brothers that was here, that had his hand in on writing the material. And basically they took Zachariah Sitchin's, well what happened was that somewhere in the mid-90s, they realized that Everybody had gotten on top of them based on people started dealing with metaphysical things. They had the Hemmitt background. You had the Matrix on the street, and you had another group of people. So he said, well, listen, I got to go to the next phase in order to survive. And literally, he took the entire Earth Chronicles of Zechariah Sitchin's Earth Chronicles and turned it around and put certain words, just change some of the words so they don't get sued. And basically, that was the basis of his new introduction into the metaphysics, is he used all 7 volumes of Zechariah Sitchin's Earth Chronicles. You see what I'm saying? And the whole 9 yards. But basically, if you look at the book, now, my point is this. And now we got a doggone, at this particular time, with consciousness being 0 point something, with the masses of people, we also must be fair on this. You must be fair to the point whereas, would you rather them dealing with him with a little bit of Hemmitt flair or dealing with Creflo Dollar? I believe that I would rather them deal with him than Creflo Dollar, because, why you say that? Because there's a certain amount of people that they're going to follow people, period. That means if it's not Imam Esau, it's going to be Creflo Dollar, Reverendite, or somebody. That's just the way it is. You got people that just don't follow people. So, it's almost like water seeks its own level, and the theory of relativity is that in actuality, he is relevant when it comes to pulling up that track. You see what I'm saying? Now, on the other hand, he's had a history as far as he has had some legitimate things in some of the materials in the earlier stuff, had a lot of good stuff in it. So my point is at this particular time, we're gunning for souls, so we can't just really say that nobody shouldn't have nothing, because our people, man, are so messed up now. Until in actuality, this becomes positive in the way. Now, it doesn't mean that it's a part of you, because you're supposed to be the trained one. But my point is, on the other hand, dealing with this, so on one hand, he's relevant. On the other hand, this is their new campaign. They don't put a color picture of no black man in no damn paper. You see what I'm saying? And start courting him over a year. They're setting it up that it damn near might be the next Jim Jones incident. Because I'm telling you, you just can't trust this devil when they come out and they interview you and they got you in the paper with posing like Osiris. You understand what I'm saying? We understand too much about the secret society to understand that this one's some bullshit on that level. So, another thing is remember now, we said the last time, always look for things that happen in the summer solstice. Now, also in the summer solstice of this year, we got Chris Rock on Vanity Fair magazine in clown face. Now, also, Chris Rock, he did the thing, bring the pain, or whatever this thing was, and he talked shit about Negroes on there. Now, we laugh because most of the stuff he was saying about black people was true. And if it was in a comedy club with all black people, it might have been funny. But then again, on the other hand, when you got a white audience, and number one, we got to realize that TV is not local TV anymore. Everything is satellite TV, so that means they can get it in China the same night. So therefore, you see a doggone Jew come and talk shit about Jewish people on nationwide TV. So this is the new thing. Now, we've got to address this particular issue also, because you're going to have to be aware of this too. And I know this is kind of taboo for a lot of black people, because we just now started calling ourselves Africans. And we need to have any kind of solidarity we can with any of our brothers and sisters from all over. But we got to understand a government conspiracy when we know a government conspiracy. And the new government conspiracy is that black people are too much aware of their Arab counterparts, as far as the people that run the stores, as well as the Korean people that run the stores. So now the new Korean is not African. We must tell the damn truth on this shit. And what I'm trying to say is it doesn't have anything to do with you or doggone looking down on the Africans, or we trying to have some type of solidarity. Well, because we're trying to have some type of solidarity, but we got to call a spade a spade. And the key is because in actuality they train them based on in the homeland to look down on us as being doggone somewhat savage. The government is now starting to use this, where now, in order to get your doggone green card, they got to show films on how savage we are. And as a black people, this whole propaganda thing. So as a result, I've seen it going on in New York, and now it's in Atlanta, as far as the cabs, as far as the pocketbooks. as far as a lot of your merchants is now becoming the Africans. And although we think this is actual positive, this is a government conspiracy now for the simple fact that they're trying to pit them against the little brothers and sisters from America now, as you know, in the hills of North America. And what I'm trying to say is you got to look at the game. We're not trying to endorse you telling you to turn your back against the Africans, but we're saying, on the other hand, agents can come in all colors now, and this is the new doggone conspiracy with the Africans. And this is a serious shit, because it's happening in Atlanta also, too. And now we're known as the monkeys. Serious shit. We got to deal with it the way it is. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about consciousness now, so this is not the type of meeting that we would go to the masses of people out in the community and say this. But for conscious people, we got to understand we are battling a worldwide conspiracy also. And we're not talking about all Africans, but we're talking about there's a group of them, and it's somewhat on the same type of African boule, basically. We got Negro boule, now they got a new elite African boule to be a counter person whenever we rise up. There's always some counter people. If they want to have a voice to counter any black positive movement, they're going to use those particular people. So that's one thing to be careful about at this particular time also. Another thing is this, and this is very key. They're now giving this thing called the epidural. An epidural is where they stick a damn needle in your spine when you're pregnant. Now the key is this. Number one, they get DNA tissue from the spine. That DNA tissue, number one, is good for cloning the mother as well as this new type of science, whereas is this. They have the technology now to go in the spine. Now look at this. This is some science. They could go in the spine with the needle, stick the fetus, get the doggone DNA tissue from the fetus, so they don't need but one drop of blood. Take that particular fetus and grow another doggone fetus right in the womb, put another fetus right in the womb, kill the other fetus, and the baby is born alive, but the baby doesn't have a soul. Because anything cloned is a step down. It has everything, memory, everything you want to name. It can even have past life glimpses, but it doesn't have the soul. That's the difference. So this is a new thing with this particular information, and we got to realize that this doggone, they say in the last days this knowledge is going to increase. Now they have already isolated every gene in the body. This is some serious shit. This means in actuality we're talking about them actually advanced beyond Yakub. You see what I'm saying? This is the type of information that we're talking about. So now they actually can clone individuals in the doggone body, where these babies are born soulless. And they're doing it through this whole epidural process. So anybody sticking you in the goddamn spine with a big long needle, we got to be crazy when black people been having babies for damn near 10 billion years. And all of a sudden, they can do this for dead people because our people love the hospital. Now, we got to deal with some mundane things at particular time because it's very serious. Now, I got an aunt. Yep. It's epidural. I go ask, I'm the last nigga to ask how to spell something. You know what I'm saying? E-P-I-D-U-R-A-L. Now this is another thing. Like I said, for those particular people, the horror in the hospital is a reality, but now they got the jump on us, and the jump is they can report any type of thing, and you can get it, but it's not coming through means of normal scholarship. Now they can take all of the random doctors' experiments, and they put them in the horror section called medical horror under the guy that wrote Michael Palmer, the guy that wrote the movie Extreme Measures. So it's under medical horror. This is not fiction. It is a true account of what's happening, but this is the government way to cloak shit. This means if you started hollering out saying, well, you know, we seeing all this shit you doing in the doggone hospitals, they go, wait a minute, hold on. That's horror, that's fiction. And this is the way that they can actually cloak things. Now, a lot of stuff you're going to learn about, a lot of things that's coming out in a movie next Friday called Apt Pupil. Apt Pupil. The other movie that came out this summer was Disturbing Behavior. So I usually say in other states, I go, well, you all didn't go see it in the movie, so you should out of luck until it come on video. But then again, since I'm in New York, that's no problem. So therefore, you go to your nearest bootlegger and get Disturbing Behavior, where they actually, one day the child is a brother with dreadlocks or some white punk rocker. The next day he got combed down hair and a Letterman's jacket looking like the 1960s posse of Beaver the Cleaver. And overnight, they go and implant them in the brain. But it was interesting in the movie, every time that they would have an over sex drive, as Daoud mentioned in the Metaphysical Masters meeting back in '94. Every time they would have an an advanced sex drive or a heightened sex drive, it would go haywire because the pineal gland would kick in, and it would make the implant go haywire. And they literally said overstimulation of the pineal gland, these children are going crazy. So anyway, the movie Disturbing Behavior. The other movie is Apt, APT, Pupil. We need to go analyze this particular movie. That's who wrote it. Dealing with the whole Hitler thing. As well as on November the 10th, you can get a good copy of Small Soldiers, where these white soldiers are killing this ancient black people, but they got them as monsters. But the leader has dreadlocks, and he's black, and he has lion whiskers, represents the Sphinx, or the goddess Sekhmet, or the Lion of Judah. So, and you will see how one people's role is to kill this particular group called the Gorgons, these ancient black people. And you're going to get thrown off because you're going to see monsters, and you don't understand the science. The other part is these white soldiers, their main objective is to kill these particular ancient peaceful loving people. But the other people are humble. But it shows how this person, if he's pushed too far against the wall, he will fight. Talking about the black man and black woman.
Those soldiers have a chip in them too.
They have a chip in them, and that particular chip, when they took it out, it was black and gold, which is the essence of exactly, which is the essence of alchemy, or what you call melanin, the black and gold one. So it's very key that you go see that particular part. Also go back and rent the movie Zorro, the new one, because it's the Star Wars trilogy rewritten, which they even mentioned Stolen Legacy. When the student is ready, the actual teacher will appear and say you are in the outside periphery, but as you grow in knowledge, the circle gets smaller. Very key that they're doing this at this particular time, that we actually have to understand different things that's actually going on. Even the movie Death Becomes Her. Death Becomes Her. The movie came out in 1992 with Bruce Willis and Meryl Streep and Goldie Hawn. Death Becomes Her and the Isabella Rossellini, where they give them this potion for aging. That's nothing but melanin, which now they're dealing with what is called growth hormones. So now the growth hormones are just a new name for pure melanin. The other melatonin is just basically, it's crushed pineal glands, which we now have the actual paper, because as I said the other day when I was here, I went to speak in Indianapolis, and one of the brothers, Lilly Pharmaceutical, is the home base for Lilly Pharmaceutical is Indianapolis, Indiana, which means in actuality, and Lilly Pharmaceutical is one of the biggest companies, pharmaceutical companies in America. So we have this particular document, I've Xeroxed some also, where they actually show you on the actual the earlier melatonin bottles before they became mass marketed, that is made from concentration pineal tissue. So we actually have that actual document. Now the other thing is this new thing now where they're doing pure melatonin that costs $800 a vial, which is called growth hormone. Growth hormone. And this particular part, they got these rich white people going and taking this growth hormone, and it's reducing the aging, which if you go see the movie Death Becomes Her, you will actually see this. It's reducing the aging, and also they're seeing that they're remembering better, they're having vivid memories and all of that particular stuff. But instead of saying it's pure melanin, they're saying growth hormone, because they go and say that as you get older, the pituitary gland secretes a hormone that is vital for growth. But when you get 18 to 19, it still secretes the hormone because you're supposed to grow in consciousness or thought. But most people in America stop dealing with any type of study, and not necessarily academia. We don't analyze shit anymore, so therefore this particular part shuts down, including black people. Just that black people, you can turn it back on. And how you turn it, just like when you go to flare up and you say, I want to tone up, and you go pump out and start working out. Well, with black people, you can turn it back on based on using mental aptitude skills, basically by doing a little studying, by doing just a little bit of awareness, videos or anything where you are analyzing shit other than the normal everyday life. So it can cut back on. With white people, it doesn't. But what we're seeing also with black people, and this is why you're actually seeing black people in consciousness, that all of a sudden you see them on the street, cut 4 or 5 years after them being some of the most conscious brothers, and they dumb down. You don't know what the hell is going on. Well, there's a gland, and if you don't use that gland, the pituitary gland stops emitting the growth hormone, but basically it's another form of melanin. But with black people, it can cut on. With white people, they got to go and get black people and kill black people to get this particular information, this stuff from. So the movie Death Becomes Her is dealing with that, as well as the movie Strange Days, which you was thinking it was this virtual reality trip that they was dealing with putting this headset on. That was actually dealing with melanin, because they get another person's memories, and they trip off another person's memories. We're just doing a recap. And all, but that particular growth hormone is the new shit that they're dealing with now, which is $800 a vial. So we're talking about pure melanin that's under a doctor's, actually have to be under a doctor's care to actually administer this thing. It's very key. Very key. Now, as you know, that these particular people are very scared. Anytime Richard Hoagland and all of the particular people started going over to Africa to meet, and Art Dale going to doggone South Africa and that whole 9 yards. Now, let's deal with one thing on that. First of all, everybody knew that Art Dale was government from the get-go. Now, from the get-go. So two things that might happen with this. One thing might happen is that for rating purposes, they'll let a person know just how much you missed something when you don't have it. So all of a sudden, they might come back with this particular part. And this is something on the mysterious quit. And what did you read? What it say? What was it basically talking about?
Well, you were saying that someone, you never say who was, but they are out to get him. And he had mentioned this before last year that some people had contacted him. So,
but you know what though? I think that's some bullshit. I'm gonna tell you why. You know why? Because first of all, they won't even let your motherfucking ass get on the damn radio. Not unless you got a part of it and go that long. It's one thing to sneak a little peek where you get on there, you know what I'm saying, it might say some things, but to be on the radio like that, no, in order to be on their airways, you got to be doggone a part of their whole system in the first place. And I'm going to tell you what the deal is. The deal is this. The deal is that is the same shit with DET talk. Which it is not the information that they're giving. None of that information is old shit any damn way. The technology is 20, 30, 40 years old. But what they do is they give you some shit, but they are more interested in the callers. So when you call in, they can monitor on how conscious America is. And based on how conscious America is, the notes on whether they pull out the goddamn barbed wire or not, which they're going to show in the movie Seed. Because now they give you doggone the movie with Ebola outbreak, and 2 weeks later, boom, Ebola breaks out in Africa. They give you Wag the Dog, showing hugging Monica Lewinsky in the goddamn movie. Movie made a year later. A month later, after the movie is released, 3 weeks later, the damn shit happened. So they're giving us the movie Denzel Washington Siege and the whole thing. So they are into doing this particular part. So my point is with this whole Art Bell thing, he was a monitoring system anyway. They have to know how conscious America is, because this is one great experiment country. They're now calling it the American experiment, the American experiment. So they want to know how conscious people are based on your phone calls. You see what I'm saying? So the first thing, like DJED talk, they might give a controversial subject. They say, we want to see how many people out here are conscious. And they know that half the people going to come in talking that Martin Luther King bullshit, that Jesus bullshit, and all that kind of shit. But they know a few people going to come in going to be aware and going to say, well, this is what's really going down conscious-wise. But then on the other hand, he says, so-and-so from Georgia, you're on the air. Right there, he done gave your name and your goddamn telephone number and all that shit. So right there, the motherfucker with the white coat, the black coat come knocking on your door and kill everybody in the house. So it's a monitoring system to see how conscious people are. And they can monitor where America is and where America is dumb. Well, 98% of the time America still is dumb, but they're still talking about that 0 point something. You see. So therefore, this whole thing, we have to see what really actually happened. Then again, on the other hand, might be some new shit that's coming out. And he might have just been the primer. You see, he might have just been the primer, but either way we talk about it, they're actually very scared at this particular time. Like I said now, also the new book, Everything is Under Control, Robert Anton Wilson. Now, Robert Anton Wilson, although he was the main person that dealt with a lot of this Illuminati stuff in the 70s before the whole Bill Cooper and all them old niggas got on there, and the Christians took it up. But he even said on his internet that I might even be a government agent inadvertently. Now, why would you even say some shit like that? Not unless you are a goddamn agent. I wouldn't even want to, even if I'm doing it, even if I know it, if I'm sneaking over to the white man at night, I wouldn't want you to know. He goes on his internet site and say, I might be an agent inadvertently. Well, motherfucker, you had a lot of years to find out about that shit. You've been out here before anybody else. But the key is, his particular book, the new one that's out, Everything is Under Control, is the real deal book. Because, you know, all the rest of this is all that Christian shit. You know what I'm saying? That they trying to destroy Christianity and all that. Well, that might be a damn blessing. In his new book, he's basically, because Robert Anton Wilson because he is an OTO member and has been an OTO member since they overthrew Kenneth Grant in 1977 and overthrew him, whereas Kenneth Grant was the head of the OTO. But Kenneth Grant was doing a lot of exploratory work, and also Kenneth Grant tell you that one of his chief people is Gerald Massey. Well, that's the normal right there, because Gerald Massey straight up tell you the shit is all black. So then the OTO sent out 200 or 300 damn memberships of giving 200 or 300 people in the organization saying that they are the head of the OTO now, and Robert Anton Wilson is one of these people. But his new book is dealing with the AWAS thing, it's dealing with Rahel Rukahula, it's dealing with Cthulhu, the Necronomicon is dealing with Noble Drew Ali, as I read with you, as well as it's dealing with the British, the Moorish origin of Celtic history, and also the Moorish origin of Irish history, all in his particular book. Everything is under the control. So that is the one, if you're going to get one, to get other than that same old bullshit. You see what I'm saying about, you know, the Great Seal and a couple of things like this in the dollar bill and all that old shit, that Bill Cooper bullshit. So that's the one that actually getting all, because is the one that's actually dealing with that particular information. So two other things we need to deal with at this particular time. A lot of people did not like the actual X-File movie because they figured it didn't have enough action. Because they already know a nigga, that's what he gonna go to the damn movie to see. Whether the shit got a lot of action and all. But the key is that you had to notice the actual dialogue. They said we have a black substance that was here before the dinosaurs. That's us. That is now here again, that will replace man, using man as the host. That is nothing but your own fucking soul. The black melanin soul. You see what I'm saying? So the dialogue in there was very superior. But if they put the actual action low, and everybody, oh, I didn't like it because they didn't do nothing. I didn't get it. But you didn't listen to the actual dialogue in the actual movie. This is very key. Very key. As I said, the movie called The Conqueror, which is written by Robert E. Howard, which is in actuality, Robert E. Howard is the guy that's written Conan. This particular movie, when you go to see the movie, you're going to see the woman Tia Carrera as the evil one, She's actually, the evil in that, which we're going to get into in a few minutes, is actually the pure energy. Then the other slave girl is the actual nice one. She ends up getting the prize. You know, always got to get somebody to have the prize, which is the Holy Grail. This is two aspects of the same feminine energy. Now get out of the point that they're white. You know they ain't gonna make no movie with you in the shit doing this stuff. But you got to understand the essence. But they did when they put Tia Carrera, which is damn near a Hawaiian or Filipino or something. That's showing you the original black element. You see, so it's very key that you understand this particular movie, Call the Conqueror, which is now on video also. Now, we know also that all of this particular stuff that went down with the Clinton shit is based on the summer solstice. That's where it started. We know that Clinton came up and said, I'm sorry that I did fuck this girl, or she did stick this cigar off my ass or whatever. But he admitted to the shit on 8/17. Anybody know any polymer magic? Know that there's 718 is also a number that also is the number of the stellar of the actual stellar of the stellar of Ankh Nakunsu, and the stellar means the word stone. And anytime you hear that word stone, you're talking about philosopher's stone, and you're talking about melanin and the whole aspect of alchemy. But it's also called desolation, abomination, which is also in the Bible. It has something to do with Leviathan also, or this other guy, Behemoth. Very key. So therefore, he admitted to this on 8/17, which is 7/18. Very key. When they do things, summer solstice, fall solstice, everything, spring equinox, fall equinox. The whole thing, he bombed a few days later, Africa. You see what I'm saying? Hell, Africa got bombed during the summer solstice. All of this is very key that you actually understand this particular part, what's going on, because this whole drama that's being played out is all the government state shit. None of it is real. All of it is to get your mind and occupy your mind from actually tapping into a certain amount of energy, because they know if the mind is being occupied and you can't think, then therefore the energy that you are supposed to have is on the periphery. Then, as we'll call in a few minutes, the Leviathan energy also on another level in a few minutes. But it was interesting that they're occupying the minds, like I said, that we met two girls from England, and they said over in America, we watch over in England, Jerry Springer comes on 4 times a day. But as you know, like I said last week, Jerry Springer's the only show. Not only does 8 niggas act like fools, that ain't nothing to do, get a nigga to act like a fool, but white people act like fools. So to them, this is a whole American experiment to say, we're going to shut the whole damn thing down like the movie Dark City. Shut it down. Very key that you understand this is an experiment to find the actual soul. You see what I'm saying? To find the actual soul. So this is very key. Also dealing with the actual Clone Wars. If you get the actual, Star Wars, but if you get the actual, the book, what is the annotated screenplays? The book, the annotated screenplays. And if you write down the timeline in which he built, when he wrote each one, he wrote Star Wars in 1973. They made it 76, came out 77. He started Empire Strikes Back November 28, 1977. He started Empire Strikes Back. He started writing it in 1981. If you understand this is pivotal times when they went about this particular so-called Clone Wars, which in actuality, the only motherfuckers might be in the United States is the motherfuckers in this room, as well as a few other people, period. So we're not just talking about, see this whole thing now, we're not just even talking about black people. We're saying that the United States is so expendable until they got a whole European race is not mixed blood. So therefore, this whole amalgamated United States, these crackers is also considered niggas too, if you're looking at the actual Illuminati. Which means that there's a few elite families that they feel would get out of this shit alive. We understand that this is not going to work. We understand that we are the damn people and we got this shit under control, because it don't take but 2 or 3 people to do this, and we understand the cracker gonna die. But then again, on the other hand, we must understand that if this man fought his people like dogs in Europe, that he don't take too kindly with Jews and Swedish and France and all those people coming over here and screwing each other and making doggone babies outside of his own racial line. They got a serious shit on no kind of blood contamination. So you can't be no Jerry Seinfeld fucking all kind of damn other types of white women from France, from England. This is some serious shit with this cracker. He don't play that when it comes to his upper echelon. His bloodline has to be pure. So based on his experiment, America is all bad blood. Period. This is when you can what about this? In saying this about how he feels about his own people, tells a little bit on how he really feels about you. If he can literally take all of America. So what they're basically saying, look, we based on an alchemical process of Freemasonry, which they got from the Moors, called cleaning the Aegean stable, that basically we had to make Europe a pure people with no admixture of Moorish and African and Arabic and Italian bloodlines that have something other than Anglo-Saxon or Nordic type crackers. So therefore we made America to filter out all the criminals, because that's what they did, all the criminals in Europe, to put them over here, and therefore they can actually clean out Europe. And the last vestiges of cleaning out Europe was the so-called ethnic Albanians, as well as that Irish shit that's going on, the IRA thing. You understand what I mean? So you got to understand the way this cracker is dealing with this thing. So when the girl came over and she said that they're watching Jerry Springer and they're watching these doggone other shows over here where the white people are going to war together, you know, and Judge Judy and all that shit, the actual English is saying, hey, those people there are in trouble, get rid of all of them. And this is the way that the Illuminati takes care of his ultimate prize, the ancient black man in America, which was prophesied to be the messianic doggone Holy Grail. They know this. They know that the Holy Grail of what they're talking about, the bloodline of the Holy Grail, or this this messianic family that's supposed to come through the whole Grail line, they know that was introduced to them by Celtic, Moorish science. So therefore that bloodline, which they also recognize will be in America, they know they're talking about nothing but the Africa in the diaspora that we talk about in the movie Jason and the Argonauts, which is taking the ship of all the most talented people to a land far away, as well as the movie Highlander 1, where we're supposed to have the gathering in a land far away in America. So they understand this particular part at this particular time. Now, let's deal with a couple of things that we want to deal with right now before we want to deal with a couple of things right now based on this Leviathan energy. And to document this, you need to get the book Damianic Reality. Because as we said, and I mentioned the last time, and it's interesting because you got your brother here now, and which is a very special weekend for the simple fact that the introduction of Brother Taranja, which is a brother on the scene that is doing some good work. This is his first time coming out, which is very good that we enter. So it's a very special weekend anytime we can get a brother, you understand what I'm saying, somebody new coming up through the ranks and actually tapping into this particular thing. Basically somebody else on the damn frequency. You see what I'm saying? Because we only got a few soldiers on the actual frequency, period. And like they say, to find a real black motherfucker, you're going to have to go to a goddamn museum. So now, the key is this particular Damien comes from the ancient word Amian or Amen or Amen, which just means hidden. And if you notice, what's that, D-D-E-N? Hidden. This particular Damien just means hidden. Even the word omen. They don't do things, M-O-N or M-E-N. Omen is amen. And it means hidden. They got movies that are hidden. And this is one of the main key things in what they're dealing with in their particular movies. And what we're dealing with based on the alchemical treatment is we're dealing with the black person or the soul, actually called in Jung mythology the shadow. Now, the other day I told you that evil is good in the context the way you put it. Now, in the context of alchemy, I want to get this particular book. This is interesting. This is a book called Jung on Evil. So he's going to give you a whole lot of psychological things on why people do this and why people kill and all this type of thing. But if you actually check his particular, the context and look at this particular, chapters, he has this word, the shadow, and the fight of the shadow. The fight with the shadow. Now, we're not just talking about psychology, because he, basically what Jung did is Jung literally purchased a Gnostic text when they dug up the Nag Hammadi Library in 1945. Jung and his particular institute went over and they had enough money to purchase one of the particular texts called the Seven Sermons of the Dead. There's a whole book put out by Princeton University called Gnostic Jung. So therefore, he was able to surpass Sigmund Freud because he was dealing with the African shit. Now, on the other hand, dealing with this particular, the fight with the actual shadow, we're not just even talking about, even in psychology, when you go in psychology, they say if you're ever going to get better, you're going to have to face your demons. Or get on top of your demons. This was the role even in Star Wars when they told him to go in the cave. Luke Skywalker, go in that cave. So Yoda told him, he said, what? He said, what's in there? He said, only what you take with you. Which the cave is actually his true self. Now, this is the interesting part is, why is this connected with evil? Now, we're not talking about psychology here. This is a little bit different what we're talking about here. We're talking about a form of the ultimate weapon in the last days. This particular evil is divine. It's not the type of evil that you manifest physically by physically going out to kill anybody, because by doing the physical act, that is actually giving credit to the physical, and therefore you are actually doing the opposite. This is talking about a train of thought that the Book of Law says compassion is a vice for kings. So what we're talking about is an alchemical process of getting to your pure energy, or the pure essence of your energy. As we know, the government understands that he's killed this over the years by giving you fundamentalistic religion and making you so-called quote-unquote good. And why is it every time we quote-unquote turn good, shit fall apart? And not only that, the so-called people that's so-called good, you don't like no more. Including the newfound conscious motherfuckers. Oh, peace and love, brothers and sisters. And you saying, man, I don't even like these motherfuckers, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? And it's the same shit. It's not just so the good shit is not just subject to doggone the church anymore. It's the newfound motherfuckers in the conscious community now. All brothers and sisters, it's a blessed day, greetings, and fuck all that old dumb shit. My goddamn colon's hurting. I don't want to hear no bullshit about no greetings and no peace and love and no beautiful goddamn day. They say face your demons, and we're talking about the true essence on the way this particular part is. Now, what are we talking about here? Jung, J-U-N-G, on evil. On evil. By Mary Stein. What's that? S-T-E-I-N. Stein. Murray Stein. M-U-R-R-A-Y Stein. Now, what are we talking about here? We're talking about the kind of energy, the kind of evil that's pure energy. And what we're talking about is this. Now, you have to take this off of the moralistic and humanistic side of shit. Because we have to stop thinking like humans. based on history, we were advanced rulers of the universe. And we later on became human as a hibernation stage before the metamorphosis. But now we are going to metamorphosize, but we are still now trying to be human, which is the cocoon stage. So what is the other stage? The other stage is this evil monster that they're showing in all the monster movies is your ass. So what is the ultimate hieroglyph for the evil monster? It would be that based on the alchemical term that we're talking about as far as the mythology. It would be something like the movie Alien. Take no prisoners. You see what I'm saying? Now we understand based on the Egyptians or the Camites, the ultimate symbol for chaos was not the lion. The lion is the archetype of the divine transformation. So they said the lion was the greatest animal, the strongest animal in the animal kingdom. That's bullshit. Like I told you last week, you walk up on a lion based on him not being hungry, you might be able to get away. You walk, if you swim with a shark, if he don't see no blood, you might be able to get away. You might be able to play with him. But a crocodile, there is no compromise. So the divine emblem of Sebek was the crocodile, because a crocodile, the only motherfucker in the animal kingdom, there is no compromise. Same way with the movie Alien. Now where did they get it from? Alien comes from an ape, Geiger's Necronomicon, which he was inspired by the occult and by the occult and also H.P. Lovecraft. The guy Ridley Scott flew over to Europe, saw these magnificent Necronomicon paintings, and later on drafted his Alien movie. So Alien is the ultimate archetype of who we are. That is the alien, because even in the Gnostic text, they talk about the alien God, represented in your book, Bentley Layton's book, The Gnostic Scriptures, the alien God. So we're talking about here another system. Now what are we talking about alchemical? And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about this. We're talking about the word prime. Evil. How you get this word prime evil? That means that evil, or as you say, equals, was in the beginning. That's all it is. I don't give a damn what. Religion, whatever. We're talking about chaos. And if we're talking about chaos, we're talking about carbon. If we're talking about carbon, we're talking about melanin. Now, in the cycle of what we're talking about here on pure evil, I like that shit. I'm pure evil. That shit even sound good now. If you get out of the damn bullshit old moralism, that's to keep a person down. That's the political shit that ain't but 2,000 years old. And understand pure evil. The ancient African or the ancient Atlantean or the ancient Egyptian understood formulas. That's what Crawley was talking about. That's what Austin Spear was telling Crawley, because even Crawley didn't get it. Crawley fired Austin Spear because he said, damn, you too weird. Crawley said, hey man, if you're looking at any goddamn deity to be up under, you ain't getting it. These are mere tools to use. And these are white people talking, which is the lesser entity. He said, these are mere tools to use as formulas to get results. And when those results stop happening, throw that bitch into the trash can. So what we're talking about here is pure evil as formulas. That's what the cracker don't let you understand. How is it that everything he's giving you is so-called good? There ain't no way in the hell the cracker gonna come and be the epitome of the enemy we know. And yet, his enemy gonna be my goddamn enemy. It ain't happening that way. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about here this. We're talking about this prime energy bottled into a pit or a circle. Now, as we know that anything that you put in something encased, the older it gets, the more stronger it gets, so that eventually it is even stronger than the thing that bottled it. So we're talking about the mother energy that was bottled, the primal energy, which is the mother energy. Tiamat, the chaos goddess, Apep, who Ra overthrew. This particular energy, after so many millions and billions of years of being bottled, it becomes stronger than the thing that bottled it. So we're talking about being even against God. Oh, now you done gone too goddamn far. See, we are Afrocentric, we are conscious, but we're still Judeo-Christian in the mind. That's a slave religion. Scorn is supposed to tear down the gates of heaven. Oh, no, my Bible says, your goddamn Bible tells you that heaven and hell will pass away. It tells you that in the Bible. It says that heaven and hell will pass away. That's one thing you start all the shit you want. Now, if you take King James Version as a chronology and use it, it's a fucked up book. But if you take King James Version as a dissecting dictionary, if all the shit is up in there. If you go to the King James Version, I guarantee you, every shit I'm saying, if you know where to find it, it's in there. In there they say heaven and hell will pass away. They say a new heaven and a new hell. So my point is, if heaven is going to pass away, what the fuck I'm trying to get to heaven for? That shit is leaving true. The Revelation? One of them. 22nd chapter of Revelation. Now, the truth is, what was bottled in the beginning? The fallen angels were bottled and trapped in the beginning. That's why when you go to ancient Hemmitt or you go to ancient Greece, which is nothing but the doggone Cretan, you can see there's some new shit now. The ancient, the Iliad and Odyssey in the ancient stuff is coming from, we know, Phoenicia, but also Crete, which is Babylonia, Mesopotamia, which is still all black. But even if we deal with ancient Kemet, it is a mentor that rises up. You get it? That means that the Christ energy is not coming from heaven. It fell and was here in the beginning. You see what I'm saying? It was here in the beginning. So we should be trying to look to hell. Because if you goddamn 1,000 miles away up in the sky, then hell is on earth if you're looking down. But the seed is in a mentor. The seed is bottled in the core. Jung talks about a god called Core. That's no more than Osiris or any underground deity that will give, or Osiris, that will give birth to the cosmic seed. Why is it core? It's like this. The heaven realm did its act. See, anytime you do something, you put forth something, you've already done it. That's an act that's already done. So the heaven realm created the physical realm. End of story. Now, anybody knows in order to create a new, you must destroy that what you created to build a new building. That means that the heaven realm, which is the lowest aspect of the creation that becomes the destructive force, is the only thing that can create some shit. The satanic realm. If you understand energy, if you take anything in regeneration process, the word set or foot is also the word shut in Mesopotamia, and you get the word shit. That's where the word comes from. Shit is an ancient word for the word soot or set or soot. And it means shit, which means excrement. It is the excrement that all moralistic religion has turned against and is talking shit against. It is the excrement that gives you the divine spark. That's a third of shit right there. Within the third of shit, no, I don't need that, because if a motherfucker shit, they can make that smooth. Because we talking to a little bit of vegetarians up in here, so we make that a little smooth turd, Now, if anybody knows that it is the excrement that has the divine regenerative fertilizing seed to grow something new. Not your ass, not the intestinal tract, not the body, because the body is degenerating. You see what I'm coming from? It is only the excrement. Now, in the heaven realm, the physical body, or what we call the physical realm, is the excrement realm, the fallen realm. So it is the leftover fragments of the burnt up ashes of heaven. That's what we are. Because we fell down. We are the Nephilim. So therefore, the only thing that can create is us, not God up there. That is something that already happened. You understand where I'm coming from? So therefore, the actual Leviathan energy that the white boy is scared of, and in Trevor Ravenscroft's book, The Spear of Destiny, he said we must prepare for this Leviathan energy. Leviathan is a dragon that's in the water. Anytime you get the word sea, you get the word water. It's also talking about the deep waves of the subconscious, the ocean, the sea, the cavern, the cave. And they say this particular Leviathan is up under the water. They said her head, once the head is broken of Leviathan, it's a metaphysical thing. When you break a head, you break a seal. And when you break a seal, you unleash a certain amount of energy. So on one hand, they talk about the Christ smoking the heads of Leviathan in the Bible. On another part of the Bible, they tell you that it is they say that God's going to open these damn seals up, in so many words. Then they talk about they're breaking some heads again. What this is actually talking about in alchemy is a breaking of the actual seeds, or it's also talking about that satanic realm or the excrement of creation now becoming the divine spark. So the Christ which rode into Jerusalem on an ass, that particular ass which is set, the golden ass, in actuality is the actual excrement, which later on becomes the ray of light, because there can only be light born out of the damn darkness. In the beginning there was darkness. Then there was creation. Well, the creation, they say they brought order to chaos, or light to chaos. Well, then if you're going to create a new motherfucking heaven and earth like all ancient scriptures, that means there's got to be some more chaos to create that. Well, we know that particular chaos is in the melanin. Richard King told you that. And your boy Stephen Hawking, who is the astrophysicist, says, they say, well, the universe has no ending. That's what the white man said. Stephen Hawking says it does have an ending. They say, well, where is the end? He says it's the smallest point of a point of a point of a point. That smallest point of a point of a point of a point is in you. That's your soul. That's the true you. That micro soul, or what they call the dwarf energy. Now, ending this thing up. This breaking through the science on what this shit is really talking about is this. A woman called in on the show, on this radio show, and asked one of these guys, this scientist, she says, is there anything on earth, how did she say this? Is there anything on earth that is not alien, that is alien to the earth? And he said, well, that's going to be kind of hard to say, because they said we can find every composite in space, we can also find in earth. So they said everything that's out in space, which is basically carbon, we can find in earth. They said the only thing that we know of that is alien to not only earth and the universe is this. So first of all, the Bible says we're going to have a new heaven and a new earth. A new heaven and a new earth. The only thing that they say is alien to both the earth and the universe, and which is basically the alien God, is some stuff that is in dwarf stars, which is burnt out stars, that is packed so tight till it produces a white powder or a white seed, that if that particular white seed was to ever become manifested either in the universe or on earth, the whole particular earth would explode. Now, based on alchemy and based on what the white boy knows, that dwarf white substance that they say that's theory. They can't go to a damn burnt off star and find this shit. But the only theory that they know where this stuff actually is inside of the melanin. That white stone, which is invisible. They say in the white, it's invisible enough. But in a dwarf star, which is probably big as the earth, it would be this white substance. This is based on their calculations. But in us, it's an invisible seed that escapes even when we die. They don't even get that. All the melanin, they can't get this little seed. That's the soul. But one atom of this, the entire earth will explode, and that, my friend, is the true Christ. That's the true Christos that they're talking about, this white stone or this white seed. But of this particular white seed, but it can only be produced in something that is burnt out. So the excrement is something that was used up, it burned out, and from the burning out, it made a new seed. And from that, after it's matured, it will illuminate. You get it? That seed, and that, my friend, is the Christ. So, the only thing down here that is old enough to have that seed in it is black people, older than the goddamn dinosaurs, older than everything else, even older than nature, because we created nature. They even got the new Gnostic scriptures dug up in 1945 when they talk about this Eve person or this feminine energy taking her essence and creating everything. You see. They even talk about ISIS creating everything. So we understand that this particular seed. So now this also gives another question. The Christ couldn't have come 2,000 years ago. Otherwise, he's just another nigga like us. Because if he was the manifestation of this seed, then we wouldn't be here to even be talking about the Christ right now, because it would have been over. And what we're saying that the whole Revelation text, with the seals, the abyss, the dragons, and all that is an alchemical cooking pot talking about a thermonuclear energy, a subatomic energy, and that's the soul. But the shit is, that can be in any goddamn nigga bumming for quarters around a gas station. And that is the damn enigma to life. So, now to wind this thing up, what they are scared of at this particular time is the dreaded Nostradamus prophecy, the dreaded everything at this particular time, because basically everything is manifested. But then again, that's the way the spiritual shit is. It manifests in a time when we even give up on Negroes. Who that man hell. Shit. And it manifests in a time now that it's scary. I don't know about New York, but down south, white people treat you better than black people all day. That's just some scary shit. Oh, hi. No, motherfucker, I don't want you to be nice to me. No, but my point is, we understand ultimate collectively they are the devil. We don't stray from that. You don't get that out of me. My point is, they do treat you better than most niggas and shit. I walked down the street in damn New York, and all the black people trying to run over your ass, they ain't stopping worth a damn. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. My point is, it is the spirit to even make the white boy to the point where as he gets secure that it ain't coming out of us when it does. He said, we got them niggas. We done killed them all up. We did everything to them and they ain't produced no Christ. And when they merely think it is over and they get their guards down, that's when it's up. But there are those that is in the higher order that understand that, hey man, even though they didn't produce, we got to do this anyway just in case. So therefore, for the mere fact that we see them getting rid of their commander-in-chief, you understand what I'm saying? For basically no reason at all, no reason that no other president has done. You understand what I'm saying? Let you know in actuality they have to do this particular part and call it a quote-unquote crisis because there's something greater actually happening at this particular time. There's something greater actually happening. So what we're dealing with now, we're really, at this particular time, we can say as conscious people, based on the course of the last year, that man, we are actually literally seeing the manifestation on what is to come. We are right in the thick of this particular part. You see, on what's going, because I'm telling you, anytime, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when self accuses self, that's when you know the end will be. Well, we understand that the house has been burning down. In actuality, like the guy Emil Bach said in his book Revelation out of Hemmitt, a revelation of Apocalypse of St. John, the revelation would go on for 10 years, and the people would have been in it 10 damn years and wouldn't even know it, because they would have grown used to bad news. But my point is, they're running scared, and I know some shit is happening, and even Bill Lilly said it. He told me yesterday. He said, something is damn strange, man. When we walking down the street yesterday, downtown Brooklyn and all over Manhattan, and we hardly seeing nobody. Shit all shut down. Now I don't give a damn how many laws Giuliani passed. There's got to be some kind of experimentation. When I walk around, I walk 5 blocks in Brooklyn in July in the damn heat at 12 o'clock at night on a goddamn Thursday night, and I can't find no niggas out in July. It was a Thursday night. What shit is that? I go to Atlanta, 6 o'clock, all black people off the street in the inner city. The inner city is looking like fucking damn Oregon. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about some experimentation that's actually going on when we see this type of things actually happening. And this cracker knows this anytime goddamn 42nd Street turned to Disney. That couldn't have happened 10 years ago. You see, in order to turn it into Disney, that means you got to get rid of the motherfucking people on 47th Street, because Disney would be tainted just by all the people that hang out that particular way. So at this particular time, we're gonna turn the whole thing over to Reverend Valentine. Anybody remember where we were? First thing I want to do is to pick up on where Brother Bobby Hemmitt left off on some things that is going around Christianity, because we're going to stay on that theme for a little while. My boy was talking about Creflo Dollar, and you got this guy, Morris Cirillo. Now, this is just the back page, the front page, and this is an old one. It says, does God still heal today? Now, who you hugging on? He hugging on this Negro here, looking for healing. Are you kidding, Morris Cirillo? My man is like one of the top Christian lowlives out there, telling you that if you don't come to Christianity, you're going to hell. Now, this is the part that really gets you. In the middle page, what that say right there? Can the devil heal? But who they got as the devil underneath that picture? Sai Baba. Yeah. Now check it out. We got Sai Baba, and right above him saying, can the devil heal? And on the cover, he's telling you that he already trashed and called Sai Baba the devil, but he's going to hug you and show on it that black man hugging on this white man, looking for healing. Now, you know, as what we were talking about, that shit is ass backwards. And right underneath, he got a picture of our voodoo doll. And he got all our archetypal symbols, with the white Moses, with the serpent, Kundalini fire, the cross of entropy. And he got my boy down here. What's the name of this other Negro that be done on Oprah Winfrey all the time? Yeah, Deepak Chopra. You see his eyeballs, he look like he's insane. But when you got Can the Devil Heal, and you got these 3 white men talking about works of the devil exposed, and you got your boy Sai Baba and everybody who is black on the cover. Now Christianity, or what we want to call Christianity, or the fundamentalist movement, the fundamentalist movement is financed out of Buckingham Palace. and the Vatican. And everything that we've been speaking about concerning Christianity so far, and again, Brother Bobby just said everything that we were talking about, that you are chaos folded over, that you are God folded over on itself, you are God in search of itself, you are God seeking the order that is your chaos within the physical body that you created to create that order so that you may study and know yourself. And that the resurrection time is here. And that the resurrection time will happen because the blood will pick up the proper signals and energy codes from light beam transmissions that are happening as they reflect off of all kinds of star dynamics. And they're coming into your periphery right now, but that your blood will be the tuning instrument. Your blood is the tuning instrument that will begin to vibrate on frequencies that is going to break that chrysalis that we were speaking about yesterday. Now, where we had left off, we spoke about the fact that the blood contains a multi-trillion year light code programming set in the DNA helix. We spoke about the fact that the government scientists now are dealing specifically with genetic science only. There is no more science on viruses, no more sciences on bacteria. It is all genetics. And why did we say that the government is focused on genetics only? Who was here yesterday? Why is the government specifically focusing on the genetics? Because the genetics is the template, and the template through which the soul expresses or unburdens itself of all the trillion-year experiences that you have to this particular point before you break through the next chrysalis. You are now cocooned, you are now inside of this brick wall of perception that the beast has marked you with. And what did we say that the mark was? All you niggas was sleeping when I was talking yesterday. What was the mark? The mark is the word. When somebody tells you to make your mark at the bottom and you can't write a lick, what do? You make a mark or an X. You make a mark until you make your mark. Well, they are telling you to make whatever insignia that represents you. Well, the beast has already marked you. There ain't no damn mark coming from no computer chip. You already been marked because you speak the language that is the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast is the language that you use to form your perception of your reality. Once you have a particular perception of your reality and you go back to the word to form your description of your perception, you have used the mark. He has a ceiling on your perception because you use his language, you use his intonation, you use the very vibration that he uses to construct his paradigm of illusion. So if his word is God, and they told you in the beginning, where's that Bible again? Brother had the Bible. In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God, and the word was God. Did we not speak on that? Now the reason why the word is God and the word was with God is telling you specifically that in the beginning of Genesis, they tell you in the beginning of John, which is the same thing as in the beginning of Genesis. It is in the beginning. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the Word was made flesh. When you speak the word, you make reference to make a perception. Once you have that perception working, that person acts upon that perception as reality. My words are now forming your perception of reality. Therefore, you are paying attention to what I have formed as your reality. That's what you've been doing since you could listen to your mother speak and take instructions from your teacher. So there is no beast coming to give you any mark. That's just to further identify who it is that's stupid enough to follow him into the grave. I'm saying to you that you are already marked with the beast, and you can erase that mark by just recognizing how you speak your reality. How you speak your reality. Now, who was here yesterday? So we have a whole bunch of new folks here that don't understand that there's a mathematics to the beast right now that's being used, and that there is a theorem and there is a particular formula, as brother said, to the specific prison that you operate in now. You are operating in a mind prison. And that means that light, which is the consciousness and awareness that you have, is only vibrating on a few octaves in your reality, so you don't know what's reality and what is not. Only what has been given to you, only what has been orchestrated for you and for your benefit. So what we're going to do now, anybody here remember what we did before? Okay, let me just explain this first. They said that the beast, or the number of the beast, is what? 6, 60, So 666, as we were speaking about, is the basic number code and the alignment code for star configuration of flesh. This is the particular programming that flesh uses as a light code transmission, as instructions to form the carbon molecule. And in forming the carbon molecule, instructions are now given through that carbon molecule to make man. So 666 is the specific light code formula for making flesh, or for converting chaos into order. Now, if 6, 6 and 6 is the basis for it, according to the specific works of the brother, the guy was telling you about Irving Stein, if 6, 6 and 6 is the basic for the reality of the beast, then if we are dealing with the mark, we go back to the Word, because the Word was God, the Word was with God. And you understand that the Word is God, so if God is working through the Word, then which God are you wording? Which representation of deity are you focused through? And when you speak the language of this particular beast, who is it and what is it that you are enhancing by you aggrandizing this language? So if using the base number formula of 6, 6 and 6, then you go down the line as a base number of 6 for each part of this particular number equation that he uses to set the roof or to set the threshold of your reality. You deal with 6, 12, come on, help me, 24, come on, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60, 66, 72, 78, 84, 90, 96, 102, 108, 114, 120, 126, 132, 138, 144, 150, 156. Now, 6, 6 and 6, let's put the 6 next to each one of them, and based upon the number progression of this consciousness sequence, we're dealing with the 6. So remember, that a word and a thought are the same thing. That when you speak the word, you speak the thought. So if I have been given my thoughts, if my thoughts have been given an outlet through the words that the beast has given me, the way to find out how the beast keeps the ceiling on my perception is to find out which words in that languaging system vibrates or operates to 6, 3, or 9. Okay? Now, for those who weren't here, we were speaking about the mark on the beast. The mark of the beast is not a mark on the forehead, it's the mark in your forehead. The mark of the beast is a system of thought that is orchestrated by the three main churches, that is politics, theology, and medicine. Through the use of words and the meanings that are given to them to form your consumption and perception of reality. The mark of the beast is thus a system of conditioning. It ain't got nothing to do with putting anything or chips on you. The mark of the beast is the system of conditioning. And the one who accepts the mark is the one that's got the best conditioning. So when your conditioning is now on the move, when you're on the move with your conditioning, it becomes a conditioning on the subconscious planes of your cellular reality. So cellular activity has to be programmed because the thoughts give instructions to the cells, and the cells give instructions based upon your actions to the genetics that you are. And the genetics now feed that back to the soul. And the soul knows how to form itself or to unload itself from all of the past energies that it got as a signature. So you have something in your past where you had your head chopped off, or you was killed, or you was raped. These are specific types of experiences that become signatures of experience, that become chemical energies, chemical information that your brain stores. And your genes begin to form the body based on those experiences. So, every thought creates a hypersonic sound. Every word creates a mosaic of elemental configuration. Every thought and every sound, every word creates a template or etheric tapestry of energy to match the design created by each. Words are given meaning and thus molds perception. Every word creates an energy that expresses itself as a geometric and mathematical progression of elemental etheric lines which set about the task of manifesting that expressed thought. I'm just catching up the people who weren't here so we can take you to the next phase. Now, the mark, if you look at the word mark in Strong's Concordance, you see it means an impression. The word mark means influence. But we're not even talking about ideologies, because essentially all ideologies are based upon what your perception of reality is, and we haven't even explored the perceptions of reality, because the very words that you and I are using to communicate are the words they gave us to try to explore that reality. So immediately we are operating at a deficit. Exactly, until we can now think on levels where we can send pictures to one another, and we said yesterday that pictures are words. In other words, we cannot use words. The Caucasoid needs to use words to convey what he sees or what he can in his limited capacity perceive as reality. But remember, I told you that yesterday God is not truth. What is God? Reality. God is reality. Chaos is reality. Truth is a conditioning based upon your experience of reality. So the only thing that can see truth is man. God don't give a shit whether you believe in it or not. It don't give a shit whether you hear or not, or whether you exist or not, because it is reality. You set the truth context within that reality. Now, who is the one that has set the ceiling, that has set the particular parameters, that has thrown the dice into the pit for you to use? Well, the loaded dice is your language, brothers and sisters, and the language now holds the key to all of what it is that is happening to you and how you use that vibratory tone in the language to convey what you want to convey as reality. You wonder why we still over here in the wilderness of North America? Because we speak in his language. We're looking for the shit that he wants us to look for. And what did I tell you about Webster's dictionary? Hold on, if you know, don't let anybody else know. Now, using the same system, if you're dealing with the 6 as the basic number, 6, 6 scoring 6, what's W? 138, come on. 30, 12, 114, 120, what? 30, 108, what's the one? 114. All you bright mathematicians, what does that come up to? Now, using you got to use the mathematics of the beast to see how he has hidden everything. This they call the authority for the English language. If they're telling you that this is the authority for the English language, and they're dealing with the beast as a 6, 6 scoring 6, then they're telling you where they hid all the shit and why they want you speaking Webster's language. Because if you add all this shit up according to this particular formula, you got 666. We got to jump ahead. Now, the reason why you get 3 different types of realities, and this is just the beginning part. There are 3 different types of realities when you use this system. Now, if you deal with the word murder, if you deal with the formula, the word murder comes up, and what's that? 6. If you deal with the word rape, what does that come up to be? You deal with the word hate, what does that come up to be? It all comes up basically on the lower frequency, the frequency where man is trapped within the present shell of his own confused and illusory paradigm. When you deal with this 6 number here, you're dealing with the number of the yang principle, the initiatory principle. You're dealing with a principle that is seeking to escape, as Bobby was saying, from inside of that shell that was created by the paradigm of your semantics. How they gave you the semantics to cement yourself into this place. How this wall of words has structured your prison. Now, if you take words like love, what do you get? 324. What does that come up to be? 9. 9, as he was saying, is the seed number. That's the seed number for higher vibratory escape. This is the one. This is the number frequency to reach escape velocity. This is the number frequency where the child or that incubating spirit that is seeking to get out of its present confinement reaches that point, that critical mass, and escape, breaks through the cocoon, breaks through the chrysalis. Now, there are certain words. Now, that's why, like I was saying to everybody who was here yesterday, don't start looking at everybody's names, and because your wife or your sister or your brother's names come up to 6, you all start putting marks on their door, or you all start dealing with spikes to take them out. You look at the word God, what's that come up to be? Now, what's 3? 3 is that midpoint. 3 is that point where it vacillates. 3 is neutral. Like Jimmy Henry said, the 6 was 9. 3 is that point where it can vacillate either way. God? Which God? Which God? You look at the word kill. Kill what? Now here's the deep part. At the end in Revelation 22, at the beginning I told you the word people here before? What? All you people here before? Now, there was a commercial out that I told you, I think, therefore, I Mac. And what's the symbol of the Mac? Not just an apple, but the apple bitten. The computer is the new Eve. Brother was sitting here and we were talking about space being a conditioned fullness, the space being how you condition it to either become the place of your paradise or the confinement of your prison. If space is a conditioned fullness, then space is the formula necessary for you to decode so you can reach escape velocity. So what does this bastard do? He creates your space. What does he create? He creates cyberspace so that the reality, what was reality again? God is reality. If God is reality, and you are the one who defines truth as man, then the best way to make sure that you stay confined is to set up the space. And then within that space, do what? Create? To create a virtual God. Through what? Symbols and words. To maintain the confinement. To pollute the space you need to condition so that you could understand how to use the proper light codes, the proper frequencies, the proper elementals, so you could form that ship from within, to start that fusion process that brother was speaking about, so that you could start that nuclear reactor that you have within each one of your cells, so that you can reach escape velocity. Now in the Bible, we spoke about the fact that in Revelation 22, and I go back to this because at the beginning we spoke about the fact that they're trying to circumvent and let you think that Jesus is your Redeemer. But I told you that you were redeemed twice. The first time you were redeemed from perfection. You were redeemed from chaos. Adam was redeemed from chaos. Chaos was an imprisonment for Adam. Adam was perfect. Adam had to get the fuck out of Eden because Adam would have died. Adam had to be kicked out according to the plan, because if Adam stayed confined in Eden, Adam would have died. So Adam, or the atom, had to be ejected through that particular symbol. This is the conditioned fullness of space, that which you call God. This is the conditioning of God's search for itself. This is the atom, and all you got to do is put something around it and you'll see the same thing. From that atom, Adam had to be kicked out through nuclear fusion to begin creation, to get out of perfection, to stop dying in entropy. So when Adam was kicked out, he was redeemed from perfection. So in his redemption, who redeemed him? Nope. Lucifer. Lucifer was the first redeemer. Lucifer was the first redeemer because he took the fire, he took the light into the sludge, into the soot, that spark that brother was speaking about. He was the light bringer. He was that search for self that the Most High took into its own darkness. Let's add them up. Come on. Hold it. Now I don't say nothing yet. Go ahead. 60? No, we're not looking at the 3. We're looking at the sub-factor. Now wait. Oh, brother, they robbed you. Ah, here we go. Yeah, somebody read nice and loud for me. Come up here, brother. You look like a good Bible student from a long time ago. Now this is Revelation this is chapter 22. What that make? Verse 16. Read it out loud.
I, Jesus, have sent.
Good Lord. I who?
I, Jesus.
I who?
I, Jesus.
Keep going.
Have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches.
Yes.
I am the root and the offspring of David.
Hold that. I am the who?
I am the root and the offspring of David.
And who are you without?
And the bright and morning star.
Hold that a minute. Hold that a minute. Now, wait a minute now. I remember in my dictionary, at least, whose dictionary? My dictionary. The one that they told you was my dictionary, Webster's dictionary. They told me that Lucifer was who?
The devil.
The bright morning star. All right, read that again because I don't think they got it.
Okay.
All right?
I, Jesus.
Who?
I, Jesus.
I, Jesus. I, Jesus. Now, all you Christians out there better get used to this shit. You've been worshiping Lucifer. Go ahead. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel
to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David.
Yes.
And the bright and morning star.
I thank you very much. Give this man a hand. What Jesus did to come back, chapter 22, verse 16 in Revelation. At the back of the book. They tucked it at the back of the book. They let you know that Jesus was Lucifer. And that both of them were lights that came to show you. One came to redeem you for perfection. One came to redeem you for your imperfection. It's all the same thing. It's God bullshitting with itself, playing around. Now, if you understand the principle of John 1:1 and why I say that the Word is God and the Word was with God, if you understand John 1:1, you don't have to read another word in the Bible. Because in John 1:1, he tells you everything you need to know. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now check this out. I'm getting up and down again. We all clear about who Lucifer was? Everybody, Lucifer? Lucifer? Everybody, Lucifer? All right, but everybody, Lucifer? No, say it. Lucifer? Lucifer? Lucifer is my friend. Ooh. Now, you know, when they see that tape, motherfuckers like this are going to put a contract, a spiritual contract on me and Bobby. what they're going to do is pray for me. These motherfuckers don't want to pray for me for saying that Lucifer is my friend. Now, how many was here when I told you that the only way you're going to know the truth about anyone is to test them with the bullshit factor? You were here. Now, what did I tell you you had to do when you stand up in front of Carl McCall or when you stand up in front of Messie Jesse? Every time that motherfucker opens his mouth to say anything, what does the choir supposed to say? Yeah. Now, if you go into the halls of medicine and you go into the halls of politics and you listen to them bastards talking to you and you're supposed to be so well-mannered, while you know they're lying. You know they're lying. You participating in this bullshit. So when you start listening to them talk this crap, why don't start with a choir and every time they open their mouth to say some dumb shit, you say bullshit in a choir. And you stay there like you. And every time he finishes a sentence, bullshit. Because they are counting on you staying quiet and absorbing the bullshit. You understand? So now, let's look at the word. Come on. 24, right? Okay. That comes up to what? Now check this out. What does that come up to? No. Whoa. Woo. Now when they said that the Word was God and the Word was with God, they even put into this grunt, cave, knuckle-dragging motherfucker's language this particular appellation that still came out to tell you that everything that you want to know about your condition, everything you need to know about what's going on in your reality, 360 degrees of your reality is based in the Word. So why in hell are you looking for a mark on the outside when you already been marked? Because you can't think without thinking in His language. Stop a minute and think. Stop a minute and think. Can you think about any damn thing related to you that you're not using your English language? I don't mean all you all learning Hemmitt and all that shit, no. I'm talking about, can you read in your mind and think about what you're saying to yourself without speaking His language? No. So you already bear the mark. So, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So everything you need to know as your reality, 360 degrees worth of your reality, is locked up in the Word. And here's the deep part of that. Because as brother was speaking about the gold and the black, the Word contains the ore, the refined substance, the light that is titurated. So when you say you have gold ore, you got unrefined pure gold. You got unrefined pure manifesting energies that come via the Word. Now, verse 1, in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then here it is, verse 2, the same was in the beginning with God. Now, verse 2 appears to be describing another God. Now, there are two sides to God. There's the good and the evil. The number 3 being neutral and thus able to be interpreted by the Word either way. So, if the Word itself is God, and they tell you that God, based upon your own representation, can be described or defined anyway, it means that the Word
which is the vibratory number of 9 or 360, can be qualified to give you whatever meaning you need to have to structure your reality. The word that is used as thought, that becomes the spoken word, all of that is reality. In verse 3, it says, all things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. That's a neutral verse. That's a 3 verse. So it's just saying that it just explains the previous 2. In verse 4, in him was life, and the life was the light of men. So what they're saying is, in him, or the word, was life, and the life was the light of men. So in other words, the life is the consciousness, or the light being, or translated as consciousness. So the word was the consciousness of men. Verse 5, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not. Now, the idea behind Webster's is to turn the light aside, to pervert the word so that the psyche operates perception through a perverted meaning of the word, or a perverted ideology of God. So you calling on Jesus Christ so he could come back and save your ass from all of the shit that you get and help pay your bills, to help heal you. And you stay in the same condition that you're in, constantly. Come on. Add it up. 10, 18, 20, and 6, 26. Come on. 8, 10, 9, 19, 20, and 6, 26. Come on with it. Come on. Come on. Give it to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 to 40 and 6. Come on. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Come on, people. Give it to me. Add me up. 6 and 6, 12. Come on. 9, 18, 27, 28, 9, 30, 31. Come on. Now you know he wears this shit on his belt. I'm just letting you see that they operate on frequencies that you know not. And that number is the value of all frequencies, because all frequencies that vibrate on specific wavelengths have number value. So when your word is spoken, when you take the alphabet as a fragment and form a whole out of it, that particular whole becomes a harmonic that gives off a specific energy that you operate under based upon the frequency value of that number. So when you speak the word, you are speaking through the mark that was given to you as your perception of reality. This is some deep metaphysical shit. And this is the part here that we start to break down the beast in little values at a time. We don't got to know the beast is this big. We know the beast exists. We love the beast. But we know that he has an agenda to stay right where he is, because he is functioning the way he needs to function, to keep your ass in check, or to force you to fight, because that which does not kill you makes you stronger. So we welcome the embrace of the beast. Come on with it, because we know we get stronger when we fight. In that way, the mind of God, which is you, which operates in the beginning as thought, creates words through satanic perceptions based upon their reality. Remember, the numbers we are getting are based upon numbers earmarked for the 1,000-headed ass. You are meant to decipher the meaning of your reality through Webster's dictionary and its definitions of reality. Once you have that definition, you are nothing else but a clone to that particular energy that is being spoken between you and the other person. So we've been into cloning long before this motherfucker took our blood. We've been cloning an ideology constantly by taking in the shit that he gives us in the education system. We are his clones on a spiritual level. Now, you wanted to speak about what this whole thing was around blood? What we say was the word again? Let's see what the vibratory medium for the word is. Come on. Add it up. That's 8? All right. Now, remember we spoke about the number 18? And the number 18 in Hebrew was what? Which meant the hook. What we're speaking about, the value of 18 is the 666. But it is the intrinsic vibration. The intrinsic vibration that creates the outer harmonic, which is 9. So I don't give a fuck how high you get in your spirituality. You will always be man, but on another value, on another frequency. So 18 was always in Kabbalah recognized as the man because you are the hook. That's that Masonic. You are the hook. You represent the hook. Arms, legs, arms, head. ISLAM. We did Islam too. And that came out to what? Now, while we spoke about blood, now listen carefully for those who weren't here. Blood and the blood crystals in your blood are polarizing or grounding agents for higher light awareness. These crystals focus light dynamics that bounce off of stars, that come through the sun and through other extraplanetary systems and focus down and bathe you, that gives the programming to your bloodstream. It is in your bloodstream that the beast knows holds the key to you escaping the specific reality threshold that you operate in right now. The reality threshold is based upon the programming that you have given to your bloodstream. Blood is liquid crystal light and has within its composite structure the ability to align and attune the body temple to communicate with multi-dimensional intelligences. Now, there's a lot of people here that wasn't here yesterday. But there's 1 or 2 people that were here yesterday, and I know you all are going over it again, but it's all right because you can't hear this enough. I want to put this down for the people. Your bloodstream, just a few in, your bloodstream is a microcosmic light stream that simulates our humanity's unique consciousness programming, which flows from a galactic substation that you call Sirius. Now, Sirius, Pleiades, all of them have a harmonic that is being shot to this planet. Now remember I told you that the particular sun that we have right now is not a healing sun, it's a purging sun. And that it's been giving up a serious amount of X-rays lately. Those X-rays are to elevate the feminine principle, are to expedite that feminine change inside of all of us, to start opening up the new consciousness for the new Eve. So now you're going to see whole explosions on the sun, sunbursts. It's going to change the weather. It's going to be starting to wipe out crops. it's going to change everything back into what brother called the soot. That's why you see all these fires burning. That's why you see all these floods coming. There is a serious orgasm of elementals happening here on this planet. Now, your bloodstream has to be programmed so that you cannot reach escape velocity. What brother was speaking about, the fact that they are cloning bodies so that they don't have any more souls, they already started that process when they began gene therapy. The reason why they want to deal with gene therapy is because your genes hold the matrix through which you unburden the soul. If you can't unburden the soul, then you become a robot. You become an unconscious or a entity that does not have a conscience. And you don't give a shit what you do to anyone or yourself. So when you play with the genetic codes, when you start messing around with the food so people can't eat the right food, when all your foods have specific genetic codings that are meant to keep the ceiling on your genes so that the rest of your blood cannot pick up the signals from the higher light codes, you stay in place. Then the beast can feed you anything that they want to, through the television, through the movies that they have with the supersonic, super high frequency shit that they give you in the movies. What do you think all that digital shit is they give you beforehand? You ever see these movies that got this new high digital shit where the train is going through? They are opening up, they're breaking whole blood crystals in your cells. When that shit hits you, boom, it says, crash. They just perforated part of your own melanin hue on your surface of your skin. The melanin sets up a crystalline structure that's supposed to process light. When that shit comes from those speakers, they come at subsonic values and hypersonic values. And they break that whole shit down. And then they give you that poison in the popcorn that I incidentally love. That further breaks you down. You ever wonder why you come out the theater exhausted? Think about it. You come out, well, that was a good movie, man. You're not thinking about what it is the movie is giving you, but what's behind the movie. Those new technologies are bombarding you with certain light codes. Those pixels are no longer just pixels that give you a picture, but they broadcast on the subconscious level. All right? The blood is your source of individuality. The beast knows this and intends to force you to conform by polluting the blood crystal antenna with chemical poisons he will put into your foods and your water, and by forcing you to eat genetically engineered food that is not by design originated by the Earth Mother. Now remember when I told you they had to create virtual reality because reality is God? If they create virtual reality in your cyberspace, they have to reinforce that or to support it by dealing with a virtual reality nature. So virtual reality nature will be the new genetically engineered food that goes into supporting the new genetically engineered information that you're getting by way of sound and light waves. Now you'll be dealing with whole other force and waves, which is earth waves that come in the form of food. Now, because the food no longer contains the proper ingredients that the Earth Mother herself made, it has ingredients that these beasts in their laboratories made. So now your body, if you like one of us in here, I don't know about them niggas out in the street, because you ever see them walk around? They look like they're already zombies from the food and the wine coolers they drink. They already are there, but us, if we start eating that shit, we cannot process the information that's not going to come from books. We cannot process the information that will come via our blood crystals being fed light-coded information. When you look up into the sun, you are learning. You are picking up information. I know half of you all can't look straight into the sun anymore. That's because the kind of food that you're eating, the kind of the water that you're drinking, has completely destroyed that melanin coating, that protection, that light code decipherer that we call melanin. That's the dark matter consciousness that they're searching in outer space for black holes for. You a black hole. You a walking composite of a black hole. Light comes directly into you. Ain't that what they say about black holes? Black holes absorb light. What do you think you do? You are the black hole. That's what's scaring the shit out of them. As Bobby said, we are walking black holes. Every time they come next to us, if you ain't right with your melanin, they start sucking on your shit. Now you check this new one coming out with John Carpenter's Vampires. What is this whole thing around vampires? Yeah, because you ever been in a whole room full of folks, full of them, man, it's like, oh shit, my energy's like, and then you just begin to start talking nasal. And you wonder, you've been bitten on your psyche next. Because they have to feed on you. They have to feed off of you. Let me get this down. His genetics are designed to distort the electromagnetic, solar, and cosmic synergy that natural earth-made foods support between us and the earth. The frequencies of earth are the calibrated light codes. Now check this out. Light code calibrations from the sun and from other star systems are what go into forming the consciousness that creates your food on this planet. Now, if he's fucking with the very mechanism that's supposed to create that light fixture, then he's messing with your ability to interface with the earth energy because he shuts you off. The chemical compositions of food no longer match what your body must recognize in order to feed your blood crystals to keep them strong. Therefore, you don't know what the hell you're picking up. You don't know what you're learning. Change the natural structures of food and you disconnect us from the source of our material resurrection and redemption. The source of our material resurrection and redemption. As a result, you may implant any subcellular genogenetic codes of the beast and thereby trap the soul in the body. Trap the soul in the body so that there's no hope of achieving cellular and therefore spiritual redemption. Because the soul must always have an outlet for the burden. If you fucked up and you don't get a chance to get that shit out on your body in the form of cancer, in the form of asthma, in the form of heart diseases, this is the way that the genetics helps the soul to use the body as a vehicle for getting rid of all that shit so you can jump to light speed. Ain't that what they told you in Star Wars? When my boy was hitting up along the side of the ship, and they said, where the fuck did he go? And then they said, oh, they're dumping all their garbage. They must be going to light speed. Yeah, they dump all their shit before they go to light speed. They told it to you in Star Wars. What do you think you holding in your belly? You holding all kind of shit that you eat. You eat all kind of chemical combinations that just fuck your brain up. And I tell you too, that you don't ever come to one of mine or Bobby's or even Brother Daoud's speeches or lectures with a full stomach. You must be out of your fucking mind if you think you're going to learn what we say in here. Because all of your blood will start rushing down to your belly. And you'll be looking at me like this. Yeah, that's right, bro. Because the kind of information that's being given, we are alchemists. And what we do is we take the word, and instead of you just getting 33 degrees of it, we're dropping it to 180. Now, as soon as you drop it to 180, or you bring it up to 180, the frequency dynamic rushes up. It goes completely up way right now. When we start forming these words and just taking the shit and turning it all around, your brain will say, oh shit, I ain't accustomed to the words coming at me like that. I got to hold on for a minute. Wait a minute. I got to stay awake. So now, we're taking the energy and the value up, and we're going to 270. This is what this is all about. To take the word and bring it 360 so that you understand how it is that the word is being used by the beast and by you who are the beast. Because that's what we are. Come on, let's face it now. We the beast. We the beast. Ain't God doing shit to us but us. Ain't no God doing no shit to us. Ain't no devil tempting us. We the one pulling the trigger. We the one killing one another. We the one lying. We the one stealing. Ain't no devil doing shit. It's us. Lucifer is the archetype of form as the first redeemer. Lucifer marshals the divine will past the envelope of perfection. Understand what I'm saying now? Catch this. Lucifer marshals the divine will past the envelope of perfection and into the realm of infinite potential. Lucifer is said to represent the dark matter consciousness of the sixth dimension, where the involutionary mind of a contemplative creator, one who is contemplating on itself, that's what them 1 through 7 days. That was the creator contemplating on itself. It was on the seventh day that it rested. At the point where it rested or attenuated its energy, that's where chaos began to form the world of order. That's what that 7 was. So Lucifer is the herald of birth, of evolutionary consciousness. Lucifer brought the light from involutionary consciousness to evolutionary consciousness. He carries the ignorance of an unconscious principle into the realm where self-consciousness is manifested. So God is an ignorant motherfucker. He don't know shit from Shinola about itself. All it knows is that it's chaos. When God attenuates and folds over and becomes man, man now becomes the better half of God. Man is the better half of God because man is the one who knows reason. Man is the one who judges righteously. God don't give a shit. He'll blow a volcano up your ass in a minute. And he'll bring the floods of Noah down on your ass in a minute. And you think he gave a shit about those brothers in Papua New Guinea when he flooded them out? They were good Christians. He didn't give a shit about that. He flooded those motherfuckers up and sent them floating. And ain't it the truth now that it's all them good Christians is getting their shit blown out? All up and down where? The Bible Belt. Houses floating down the river. Churches getting blown over. Where the fuck is God? Because God don't give a shit about you. Everything that you want to know about Jesus, you made up. You're the one searching for yourself, God. Wake the fuck up. Because you are God. So we're holding off this particular situation now. Just to close out, Christian stories of Lucifer are simply reflections of their own rise to dominance and power. Christianity was merciless, vicious, and brutal as it pillaged and raped the land and the psyches of indigenous peoples the world over. How they used the light provided by Lucifer has now been shined back on them. But in Christianity's own myopic, closed-minded dogmatism, we are made to believe that the present plague, pestilence, and misery suffered by our ancestors and the peoples they violently converted to Christianity was the work of Satan and Lucifer, and not those bastards in Rome, who were the ones who really inflicted all the pain. Do you know that every form of torture that was ever used by the Nazis or any of the bastards around the planet that took on Christianity was learned during the Dark Ages under Christianity? Do you realize that most of Christianity during the time of the so-called Dark Ages ran over to Brother Suleiman to look for refuge from Christianity, and that these Christians were converting to Islam? Do you realize that the majority of the people in North Korea, the majority of the people in North Korea in Korea are Islamic? Do you realize that most of the soldiers that they kicked out when they overthrew the government of Russia, do you realize that most of the soldiers that they kicked out from the USSR were Islamic? Ooh. Not the Serbs. The persons the Serbs were trying to kill were the people. See, what was that? That ethnic cleansing shit? That was them trying to kill off the prophecy of Nostradamus. The blue sheep was supposed to rise from over there. So they were killing all the boys. The same purging of the innocents that was in the Bible under Herod. You got to remember now, they were killing off Islamic. They look white, but they were Islamic. And if you got North Koreans that were Islamic, and if you got the government of South Korea, whose whole business economic plan was set up by Jews, what do you got? Another fucking Israel. It's the same thing happening all around, brothers and sisters. The war between the Christians and the war between Islam and the Jews has been going on for the last 300, 400, 500 years. It's the same thing folded over. It's the same game. Now, I want to close out by telling you, brothers and sisters, that I'm going to be in Brooklyn to take this. I just rehashed. I had a lot of things else to speak about, but we didn't have a lot to talk about. We wanted to get to some questions and answers because Bobby and myself, we wanted to just kind of refine some of the shit that we were saying to you and then bring it back to you, give it back to you so you could understand it. For those of you that weren't here before, I just rehashed it so that you could get a kind of a catch-up to where we were on this mathematics of the beast. Get the particular, if you want the whole deal and how we ran it down yesterday, Sister Burt got it. She's going to edit it. And we have the whole layout of how the political system is set up, the whole religious system, as well as the medical system. We're going to get to the medical system later on down the line. So if Brother Bobby Hemmitt would like to come forward at this point, we can sit up here, update. Supposedly, those of you who were at the gathering of the masters for all this time, you remember we were talking about the fact that the cowboys, the white boys out there that was up there in Montana that time, the white boys were telling us exactly what was going to be happening long before that Art Bell motherfucker was telling you anything. Now, Art Bell knew he was an agent, but the man, that guy James, they dropped a serious thing on him that he was out of Scientology. And that all the stuff he's talking about, that remote viewing, he learned from inside of L. Ron Hubbard's school. So everything you get on that tape is based upon Scientology. All right? That's one. Two, the fact that Clinton won't finish his office. He's either going to be killed or resign. As far as impeached, don't even think about he's going to get impeached over a little pussy. That's bullshit. He's going to be impeached because he was selling secrets. And he sold all these weapons to the Chinese. You're going to be hearing all this shit about my boy. This motherfucker you're going to need is John Huang and Charlie Tree. Those are the two names that's going to come to prominence in the next month or so. John Huang and Charlie Tree. Tree had a Chinese restaurant back in Little Rock, and Clinton used to go there and eat all the time. When he became president, he took Tree with him, but Tree had big connections in China. And what Clinton did was open up the whole storehouse. He was selling them stealth secrets, super atomic warfare weapons, everything. That's the shit you're going to be hearing. That's what's going to bring Clinton down. So Charlie Tree and John Huang. Clinton gave Charlie Tree and John Huang Q-16 clearances. That's top secret clearances to Chinese. And they were getting that money. They were raking in that money. These boys were calling up, soliciting money out of the White House, out of the Oval Office. Now check this out. The other part of it is, on the metaphysical tip, Clinton was inaugurated at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, January 20th, 1997. Now, he was inaugurated on a void of course moon. Check this out. Nixon was inaugurated on a void of course moon, impeached in 1973. Kennedy, void of course moon, 1961. You know what happened to him. FDR, void of course moon in 45, died in office 5 months later. McKinley, void of course moon in 1901. Assassinated by a Serbian national. Well, you hear that name before. Garfield, void of course moon in 1881. Assassinated 8 months later. Lincoln, void of course moon, 1865. Assassinated 3 months later. Andrew Johnson, void of course moon, April 1865. Impeached 2 years later. Anyone who has been inaugurated on the void of course moon has not finished the presidency. So my boy getting a little bit ahead in the Oval Office, that ain't it. Okay, now when the moon is making transit between the signs, the point where the moon reaches the nexus, or right between one sign and the next, that's the point of the void of course. When it's in between, and it's void of course, in other words, it doesn't have one influence or the other, boom, don't do shit on that time. Just sit still and wait for it to make its transition. Because if you do anything on void of course moon, it's going to turn the shit in your hand. Don't sign no contracts, don't make no deals, don't even think about saying I want to marry you, baby, on void of course moon. They usually have calendars that break that down, and the Llewellyn calendar breaks that down real good. Llewellyn calendar. See if you can pick one up over at what's the name, at Quest Bookstore. Llewellyn calendar. The next one, it should be out right now. The Boy That Crossed the Moon, I ain't checking. I'm just giving you the information. All right, so now, when you see what's happening, after they get him out, the problem is they may move Gore into office. Now, if they move Gore in, he got a whole other 666 trip going with him. But if they move him into office, that means he appoints another Rockefeller, because Clinton's mother was a Rockefeller. All right? Because she was hooked up with Winthrop Rockefeller. Winthrop Rockefeller was the one who made her, and she made Clinton through this police chief. So Clinton, they say, is one of the first bastards to become president. But she was a hoe. That's what they said. She had 6 husbands and 60 lovers. So when you see what's happening where Clinton comes from, when he gets out of office, you got Gore coming in. When Gore comes in, that means nobody elects the next vice president. He appoints that vice president. And the one that they say they're going to appoint, get ready people, is J. Rockefeller from West Virginia. So you're going to have 2 Rockefellers, because the Rockefeller financed Clinton. You knew it. No, that's what I'm saying. Now, if they get him out and they get Gore at the same time, then they put Newt in. But if they don't get Gore, Gore moves in. And then Gore brings his boy Jay. And then they take Gore out, and guess who's president? Right. All right, so that's just one of the scenarios that's working right now. But Clinton, you know that his coke nose ain't blowing up no more. You know they done repaired the inner side right there. He ain't coking too much now. He's drinking a lot more though.
Well, he needs to.
Oh yeah, he needs to. He's drinking a hell of a lot more now.
Well, it's interesting because when I was in Indianapolis, the guy gave me this paper with like just tons and tons of names, and I was like, so what's all these names? Anyway, he got it off the internet, and all these names were people who had died who was associated with Clinton. Mm-hmm. So I mean, man, this cat, man, everybody around him was dropping like flies. You see what I'm saying?
Just hold on to it while we do it. Just hold on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, this is the microphone. Okay, it's the microphone. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, question of...
What's happening here is, she asked what I said on Friday that most of it was planned. And he's saying, how does that reconcile with what he's saying based on all of what's actually going on? But still yet, that is a plan, because even in 1992, there was an article came out that said that Gore was the real president in the first place. You see, they couldn't get in on the election thing, so they just put him in, and they always have a decoy out front. So my point is even though this thing, he's actually telling you how this thing is unfolding. But remember, everything is always an estimate. They even said that they actually literally went and studied a pervert or actual nymphomaniac, and they said, well, who can we get that's a nymphomaniac and we can put into the president office? So I'm saying, when I say they, I'm talking about there's always an unseen hand that's an estimate that's pulling these things off. It's just like what Steve Coakley said back in 91. Back in 91 when they said that it was getting ready to impeach Nixon. And they said, well, and I think it was Alexander Haig said, why don't you go? And he said, and miss Iran-Contra and miss the Iran hostage situation. You see what I'm saying? And he started talking about things in the future. So I'm saying there's always a greater part. Now, we ought to also know about the media. We know that the media has taken a poll based on the O.J. Simpson thing, and they understood that after it was over with, the people were literally at an all-time low, and a lot of people had to go to psychiatrists because they didn't have the O.J. Simpson thing. It's just, and it's the same all-time low when they told Jerry Springer he couldn't fight no more. You know what I'm saying? And they start cutting all that. Then he started dropping. So we're talking about a psychological process also for control.
But they were speaking also about the fact that he made the last elected president.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's one big global conspiracy. You see what I'm saying? Even if you look at the actual part of, even if you look at him now, it's almost like he knew the inevitable. Even if you look at the part, which my sentiments exactly when I talked about this particular article of Gore being the man behind it. You see what I'm saying? Being the man is actually the actual president. I mean, he's the man that wrote the actual book and saying in the book in 1992, his particular book about how Africa is finished. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying there's always an unseen hand and all. You see?
Yeah. Remember back in the beginning when Clinton first took office, it was Gore. When it came to international affairs, Clinton would step back and Gore was the one doing all of the speaking.
And that's very key on that part about the international part. It's just like it's just like Carter. Carter didn't do shit during the presidency. But how is it this man is the #1 international person, period, in the world history? Carter, a damn Georgia cracker.
Close.
You see what I'm saying? So, we're talking about different stages, but we're still talking about a global conspiracy.
You gotta remember too that they are nothing but office boys. And whatever the game on the world stage, they are there to do what they are told. And that their family members within a larger global conspiracy, and brother was talking about that other upper echelon dealing with what is known as eugenics. And the eugenics are that there's a certain level, a step down level to the purebred they're talking about. These Aryans, Hitler talked about, are the Aryans that were supposed to be the purebred priests. He took their names and dealt with the fact that they were higher consciousness entities, which were black. The word Aryan is not white. It doesn't come from Germany. It's not even in the German language. The swastika itself was taken on because your boy Hitler was part of the occult. He knew what the deal was. So when you're taking on these particular swastika, that's not a German name, but the Jews is taking all the symbols, the African symbols, the Dravidian symbols, and demonizing them so that you say, oh, no, I don't want to touch those. But meanwhile, they're getting the power on those symbols for themselves to maintain your incarceration of consciousness. Yes, brother. Yeah, well, that's the other thing, too. When brother was dropping the seed about the fact that Bell's show was part of them finding out what considered a DET, well, sightings was set up by the CIA. Sightings is a CIA program. And everybody who's in it, they tell you, if you got a strange phenomenon, you see flying saucers, right in. How many of y'all wrote in telling me you see lights in the sky? Left your name, your address, your phone number. How many of y'all getting ready to disappear because all throughout the Midwest they got these prefab houses going up on these closed army bases? How many of y'all gonna disappear because you think you know? And just because you think you know, you getting the hell out of here. Yes, sister. Yeah.
Well, my point is there's thousands of people. Well, everything is relevant. There are those that teach survival and preparedness and stockpiling and all of that. And that's evident. But then again, on the other hand, there's got to be a twofold thing. Although you were trying to survive physically, you got to survive on another level as far as literally becoming the powers that they're fighting against. It's the whole reason why they're doing this is because some earth changes, there's not going to be enough food, and they want to hard it off for themselves. They basically do that now. You see, basically what they are fighting against is they are fighting against us becoming those particular monsters that they call, or that particular Leviathan energy, or what they call the black hole. So in actuality, there's got to be a group of people that take care of spiritual matter. Take for instance, the Leviathan. Go get the movie Doom. And you'll see that the whole spice thing was coming from a worm up under the ground called Shai-Hulud, the father, the great old father. That same worm you'll see in the book of Revelation is called wormwood. But then again, if you see Star Trek, you hear about wormholes. So we're still, wormholes. But if you get the book Fred Allen Wolf's book, which is not an occult book, this is a straight up science book. Science, in the science department, what they call new physics or chaos physics, you'll find out that the whole thing between universe A and universe B is what separates universe A and universe B, which you slide, what they call sliders, is the wormhole or what they call the black hole. So my point is, going back to that, what we're supposed to be doing has got to be a group of our people. There's got to be priests. When you see any of the revelation, you see the book of Enoch, and they said that the elect is coming to doggone kill those particular people who have made our people small, and we have become food for those people. In the book of Enoch, they say, I'm going to turn those particular people, which they were talking about the evil empire, which you call white people, and the whole white person army. They say they're going to turn those people over to the elect. So that means that we are the elect. Right? Now, if we are the elect, that means in actuality we have to focus on matters of becoming the elect, because the simple fact that they are gearing up to fight a war against us. So there's one thing based on survival. There's another thing that we're not getting in all is that they are telling us in so many words that the people and their most hideous nightmare is us. So therefore, it's like the theory of relativity. One part is relevant. The man busts in your house, you're supposed to have something to get that crack out your house. That's one thing. That's almost like, that's given. You see what I'm saying? But on the other hand, there's a lack of not focusing on spiritual endeavors that will actually turn us into those particular demon spawn that he's scared of. You see what I'm saying? That he's scared of. We are always talking about resistance. And this is the mentality even from the 60s that we have gotten into. We've gotten locked into this particular part. We are always on the goddamn defense. And he prays that we don't become on the offense. You see what I'm saying? But we think our offense is going getting guns. No, that is our defense. Now don't get me wrong now. You keep your defense for physical measures. But then again, on the other hand, the offense that he's scared of is not the guns. He's scared of you becoming that beast or that particular demon spawn, which is the dark night of your soul, the shit that he's terrified of. You see, terrified of.
The other part with the crux of it, the Dune, if you look at the Dune and you watch the worm, the conqueror worm, deal how you see what they have to do. First thing they do is they get on that worm and they ride it between their legs. And if you look at that worm, it looks like a big black dick. Look at it. It shows the same way that you're talking about the power, where instead the symbol of life is the black penis, the symbol of death is the black gun that's made in the antithesis of that. Right. So he's shooting blanks, you shooting life, he shoots death. And you remember what that worm was giving off? What was the substance that the worm gave that gave you the inner sight to see beyond your own consciousness? Spice, but what was it called? Melange. It was the melanin factor. So when you understand that you start to wake up the worm, which is actually another pseudonym for the Kundalini snake that is crawling up the back, waiting to be breaking loose, you don't, like Brother said, you don't have to deal with any defenses. You are a walking offensive machine when you wake up. That's the shit, keep you asleep, keep you thinking that the words you speak are going to give you your freedom. So, go get your education. And how do you fuck over the next generation? You put over 150,000 black women through school. You put 3 and 4 million black women through college and give them that fucking PhD shit so that they can teach the children of the next generation how to keep the ceiling of their consciousness in fucking tact. There it is. You understand what I'm saying? So when you got your woman going through that church that's supposed to be keeping you in the education system, you are changing her molecular structure to begin to house the whole harmonic of the beast in the language, because she becomes so now eloquent to be able to speak it. And how many of these Negro women, how many of these mammy-ass women you seeing defending this motherfucker in the White House now? Yes, sister. Yeah, okay. Yeah, yep. What you want to say? Yeah.
Yeah, register
Yes.
over there. I'm sorry.
Yes. Yeah. No, what it is no. I understand what you're saying as far as the ancient world is in fragments. This is the problem that most of the see. Everybody makes this mistake. Even the newfound chematologists made this mistake, because basically what happened is we live in a compulsive society, whereas in what you call chaos, or what they call quantum psychology, is this: if you go from one extreme to the other extreme, you become just as bad as the extreme you left. So what happens is this: a lot of the Afrocentrics, the chematologists say, I'm not going to read nothing but Egyptian stuff. Right. The Islamic say, I'm not going to read nothing but Islam. The key is the ancient world is in fragments. That means that it's like a damn detective. You got to doggone pick from here, you got to pick from here, you got to pick from here. But if you throw out the Bible, you just threw out piece of, you see, the whole structure of the puzzle. So the key is that they are only tools. Now in chaos magic it says nothing is true, all is permitted. Because they're talking about relativity. You see what I'm saying? So the key is what we're talking about is you use a consortium of everything. And then again, on the other hand, a lot of things that you think is not everything you need to start dealing with. When we talk about just the goddamn nursery rhyme, you see what I'm saying? Popeye and Olive Oyl. We talk about all kind of stuff. They're teaching their people. You will go down and go to doggone Barnes and Nobles, and they might have one little religious section that got some bullshit up in there where they sending their children to Forbidden Planet, which is the fucking comic book store, and all the good shit is up in there. Because mythology is physics. You see what I'm saying? So my point is you, a detective, leave no stones unturned. So right now what we're talking about is it's in fragments, and when you doggone secting yourself out on a sectarian manner, you don't get the whole key. That's the Holy Grail right there. The Holy Grail is when you searching for the Grail, you don't find out that you the goddamn Grail the whole time. You see? Excuse me? You say what? I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. If you hadn't had a certain form of enlightenment, you could not be up in here. I'm trying to tell you this. Let me tell you, okay, yeah. I want to say one thing. This is something about the divine hero. The divine hero is on the journey. He's always looking for the enlightenment, and he's come to find out when he finally reached the enlightenment, that the enlightenment was the damn journey itself. You understand what I'm saying? Was the journey itself and all this type of thing. Don't look for the Messiah syndrome, because we always try to single one out. We always try to single one time out. And it's interesting because the last couple of years I extended the question and answer. You know why? Because I found out that the questions were actually answers. And what it is this is a gathering of the light beings to filter in all this damn energy and this knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? You are just as part of the whole quest. So the key is you must understand this particular part. For the mere fact that you asked that question about is there any one, you took it outside of your own self. Go back and look at Last Dragon. He looked for the damn master the whole movie. And it took him, and that's the basic premise of any a Wu-Tang
Martial arts movement is the basic premise is that the student gets his ass kicked. Well, what happens is the student teacher dies. And the guy who killed the student teacher, the student is the prize pupil, and he is always better than the guy who killed his teacher. But he has to go and do all these techniques and trying to find all the people that can kill this man, and it's always at the end of the movie when he realizes, hey, I am the goddamn master. And then all of a sudden he's over and he starts glowing.
And then if you look at it, the one who kicked his ass was shown up. So he was shown up telling him that you are the master and that I am making you better by this ass whipping that I'm going to give you. Now the other part of it is, as brother was saying, is that the problem with us is that we keep looking for the problem-solving solutions outside of ourselves. And they're always going to dangle that carrot in front of you. They're going to dangle Christianity and hang Jesus on a cross in front of you, like you're going to hang it around your neck like a yoke. You're going to always be looking for solutions outside of yourself because that's what a good, educated person does. And it's all these motherfuckers that are educated that's fucking up the planet now. And every time they're looking for shit to find out what their education can give them, they go in the bush to some man that is digging in the earth and in the ground and say, Master, teach me. And he uses his PhD. He ain't asked whether or not this is Dr. So-and-so digging in the ground. He's coming to kneel at his feet. So what the fuck are you worried about going into a school so you could get a better job working on a fucking plantation? That's the bullshit that a lot of our new sophisticated sorority sisters are about. And we got to get them out of that bullshit because the quintessence right now, the quintessence of what it is sister was looking for is inside of the blood crystal. So you got to stop leaking, sister. If you as a sister want to find out what the light is inside of you, the first thing you got to do is to stop the light bringers from leaking out of your vagina. So if you leaking blood, you leaking blood crystal, you leaking light, you leaking the light that you would give to your child later on. Yes.
Wait a minute before you say it. We can't hear you back here. So we want you to come up here. We don't have to be on camera. We just want you to come up and get on the mic, please, so we can hear it on the thing. It's not your property. And you ask a good question.
I like it. Okay.
You know what I'm talking about. The next question.
What was the question? This brother here had a question.
Okay, her question was, who among us did she know of anybody who had gotten to that particular level? Here you go. Here you go.
You just stand right there. Sure. Right. No sweat. Can you hear from here? No. What?
You can hear we can hear him.
Okay. All I'm saying is I don't want to get caught into a situation when we were last here. This is Reverend Valentine and Bobby Hemmitt's event, and whatever contradictions or things that we have in relation to what they're presenting, I don't like to crash people's stuff. We're here as observers. So the point I'm making is, for those that were here, the conscious rapper from the East Coast that was on Strange Universe, he kind of crashed my thing, but everybody does this kind of stuff. I'm saying that what most black people, first they have to get away from ego. They always are looking, that's why you got 1,000 different ministers. Everybody is looking to the messenger rather than the message. And that's why every day you got a new rap artist out here. You got people sleeping for 3 days in front of Yankee Stadium for some bullshit. Okay? So the point is, people get caught up in personalities and they miss the whole thing. Now, if you are digesting what is presented, you don't go from this guy to this guy to this guy. Oh, no, I don't want no camera. No, I'm sorry. It's a contradiction to what I'm saying. Because I'm not, because then I'm doing the same thing that I'm saying that the conscious rapper has done. And then, I'm real clear on trying to be, there's so much hypocrisy out here, I don't like to be perceived as a hypocrite. Okay? Well, I don't care what you do, somebody's going to talk about you anyway until your ass hurts and your ears ring. But the point is, or what we're saying now is, New World Order is rolling. Harlem, where you're sitting, is occupied territory. You had an agent that sat there. He wouldn't even come in the fucking room. I ain't going to name his name. He's an O-line agent. I know agents for 30 years been in Harlem. Agents when I was a little boy. Ain't nobody killed them motherfuckers. But the point is, we work on an occult realm. We're killing the beast on an occult realm or a physical realm. Now, if people don't understand or have an understanding that you at war, then what the fuck is the reason for you to go to endless meetings and endless lectures and hear basically the same thing over and over and over again? The idea is there's only one leadership to follow. It's not me or anybody else. It's a person in the mirror. And if you got 360, then you know that the devil is a devil. I'm not going to get into the thing of who's Lucifer and who's up and down. The devil that you see every day is the devil. Whether you do anything against him or not, it's finished. It would behoove you to do something against this motherfucker because he got something for everybody. So when the stock market crashes and crackers are jumping out of the window, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? That's the question I think that we should all stay here tonight. They gonna jump right and don't get in no personality. And don't be about that. That's all I'm saying. So I'm just saying, I thought, and you know, and I'm going to leave it back to them because this is their thing. But the conscious rapper went through a whole thing, oh, Dawood, 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 you the man, you the man, you the man. And he came on there complaining about, oh, somebody made a tape of mine and I should get the money. Are you involved with that? Fuck that shit. Motherfucker, tapes we had been all over the world I ain't got no money from. That's irrelevant. That's irrelevant. So what is the conscious rapper about? So I get my digs in on that. Okay? Because it's bullshit. And you know, but that's what I got to say is that, hey, it's over, it's over, it's over. If you're not ready, okay, to battle this demon 24/7, then leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Because it's bullshit, it's bullshit, it's bullshit, and more bullshit. Everybody, I like him. Well, I used to like Dawood, but I don't like him no more. I seen him drinking. He ain't right and exact. And I'm going to leave that alone. But, you know, you got to wake up and let the brothers answer more questions. Let's hear from Brother Dawood.
Yeah, I got one question for Phil.
He got it. He heard that.
With this? Yeah, I just want to ask Phil about the number system there. You said it was a black man who devised it. No? Oh, okay. I was just wondering the history on that. If where did it come from and how did he come up with it?
Joe Stein, Irving Stein.
Okay. The question doesn't need repeating. He put it right into the what do you call it already? The system itself is old. It's called geometria. And it's part of a system of mathematical breakdowns using tones, sound, light, everything to form mathematical equations for what consciousness represents. Consciousness, when fragmented, breaks down into numerological values. So that's why the computer system that sets up the virtual reality for your new paradigm is broken down into a number system. So even the words that you speak has a numerical value on the hypersonic level. So when you even think, the particular energies that you form based on your thought projections set up mathematical values that can actually be read by computers now. They can put a chip on your voice box and you don't have to utter a word. You can think, and they found out that when you think, your voice box vibrates the words that your brain is thinking. So now they can just put a chip in your voice box right now, listen to the shit that you're talking about, and you don't even know that they're listening in. And that's these motherfuckers that's out here that's just been let out. You notice how they empty in the back doors to all these sanitariums? And they walk amongst you? And you talking all kind of what anti-revolution is. You think that they're there. These are signal carriers. These are signal projectors. They're going to be loosing them into your community, but they still are right now. They're your teachers now. They're your politicians. They're the motherfuckers that's down at the corner store that sell you your food. Yes, brother.
Before you say anything, please,
This sister needs it.
Yeah, because we can't hear you when we want to listen to what you're saying.
Yeah, they come up.
Yeah, why don't y'all come up and want to ask questions? No, come on up, sir. Come on up. Let us do it like we want. All right, well. Yes, Bobby, can you?
All y'all got to do is shout it out.
No, that don't work on this panel.
We'll repeat it.
We don't have white folks camera.
We repeat it.
Bobby, can you explain to me about what the blue book means? No, he was just talking about, Brother Beck was talking about the blue book, the alien book. I'd like to know more about that.
That UFO book that they talk about, these guys who put up that bullshit UFO book to let you believe that they did some sort of in-depth studies of whether or not the UFO phenomenon was real. That's government. It's all cover.
Yeah.
It's all bullshit. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah.
Don't even get it to read it.
Yeah.
Waste your time.
Talking to the microphone.
Yeah, I know you heard me. I know y'all heard me. Brother heard me. Some sister.
Okay. I just got to ask this question. How can you tell when someone is cloned?
Oh, okay.
I just got it.
We're looking for clones, people. Have you been around certain people that just don't look right? I mean, first of all, you can tell them first. The white people are easier to tell that they're clones. You can tell Jimmy Carter because his hair parts in the other direction. Get some earlier pictures of Jimmy Carter, and you see he parted his hair in one direction, smiled out of one side of his face. Now look at him, his hair combed in a whole other direction. Now one thing you know that's crazy, ain't nobody ever changed their hair to comb it to the other direction. You can look and see another clone when you looked at Nixon, and because they retired his model. They couldn't clone his ass no more because his shit was just dribbling and... Remember the funeral when all them presidents were sitting together and you see them all doddering like this, and then the next day you see them all jumping around like that? That's a clone. You got to keep it. You only can clone 7 times. After the 7th time, you can't clone nobody no more. There's another way. There's other ways. We have to tell it, but there are other ways that you can tell, but it's easier to tell on white folks than it is on dark folks.
Well, this is another way. It's not, and this is not just. Well, this is another way, and this is not just for clones. This is for anybody who's basically. This is for anybody who's dealing on a low level, because the clone basically doesn't have an aura because the soul is gone. Now, on the other hand, we got people that aura is real low for the simple fact that they're dealing with a low level, and this is the way you can basically detect. Basically, when you see people that no matter how much they wash, they still look nasty. You know, they got a dingy. No, this is
Look at him.
and they still look dingy. That's because the aura. That's because the aura is not transmitting. So therefore, there's a dingy look to them. No matter how much they wash, no matter what kind of nice clothes, they can be $1,000 dress, they still got a dingy look. That's because the aura is not transmitting because of a lower level. So that could either be a clone, or that can actually be because they're so bogged down in negativity. Now, but another thing is also too. I mean, some behavior is just downright ridiculous. Like I was saying, and I said this, I think I might have said it in Atlanta. You can go and say, well, they're killing people in the projects. You know, they emptying out all the projects. And the person goes, "Those some nice shoes you got on, man." Or, you might say some things, like, something that's hideous that basically will get a human response. And the person goes, "Well, how your mama doing?" Just something just out of the ordinary. That means that the person is not transmitting. But on the other hand, you don't want to get stuck in trying to dissect, you see, who's and what. You will know based on the people. You can only know based on the people that you come in contact with. And basically, that's one way to tell, not just the clone thing, but just basically, a lot of people, if they start looking dingy, it's because of that.
Remember, you were here the last time we were talking about how your blood crystals, your blood crystals vibrate a certain energy when you come into reference direction or a reference into a proximal or proximity alert. You can get into proximity alert based upon the person you stand next to. When you are standing next to a clone, your proximity alert is, I'm getting drained. Because he or she is substanceless and doesn't have that generated battery that the nerves give off, like Brother said, that becomes the aura. The soul gives off the aura because what it's doing is it's vibrating on a frequency that after the vibration of the frequency transduces through the blood crystals gives you the color of the consciousness as that light. But if he or she ain't got that shit, you now start feeling down. You stand next to this motherfucker, I just don't feel right. You know, my shoulder's aching, and you start standing in different directions, and you can't wait to get out from in front of this person. That's because they sucking on your life force. They live off shit, you know, like they touch and they, you saw the picture where that person touches and the beast goes through you.
That's a real big sign. You see that among white people. They always want to touch you. Right.
Yeah. Come over here, let me hug you.
That's vampirism. Always want to touch you.
All right, next question, Brother Harris.
I enjoyed everything. It's music to me. I know that we are on journeys, many journeys. And the question I want to ask is, since we are on journeys of day and night, how can we access the power of ourselves when we turn off our consciousness toward the light and move into our dream world? We sleep 1/3 of our lives and don't even access the power of our dream. Can you give us some information as to how we can empower ourselves through our dream world? Because the greatest teacher is in darkness.
And the brother has a beautiful question. This is Brother Armand. You got to see some of the work that this brother does too. Amun Ra. He got some serious work to see on it. I just feel this real quick. The brother's speaking about dream walking. Now we used to dream walk, and that was our version of space travel. See, we ain't need to get in no damn shuttle. All we needed was to go into a still place. All we needed to do was to attune that very same aura and reflect the light back into ourselves and then jump out of the body while we were holding on to the cord of life and visit any goddamn place in the universe we wanted to because we had that power. But as far as dreaming, you got to remember that you go to movies where Freddy, for at least 6 years, has been haunting your dream world. You don't want to dream anymore. Your interpretations of the hieroglyphics that the light code transmissions give to you in the form of information for your redemption is now being interpreted for you by Hollywood. Now, why is it called Hollywood? Because Merlin, the magician, Merlin, the weaver of spells, used the tree of the holly to make his wand. So the wood from the holly tree was what Merlin used to weave his magic. So Hollywood is weaving the magic that keeps the ceiling on your ability to see into the dream world where all your answers are. And as Brother Daoud said, we are assassinating motherfuckers every day by just our presence. But we haven't learned to harness that shit yet. So that when we get into that dream world and we start walking into dark matter consciousness, and we begin to see that beast at a place where he is the most vulnerable, he'll be dropping like flies tomorrow. But they destroy your child's ability to imagine from the time they're put into kindergarten. That is the field of operation for the brain that you as mothers are supposed to be enhancing. But you're not home, you're at work, you're playing this career shit. The word career comes from the word combat. You want to go into combat now? So right now you can't teach your child to assassinate on the psychic level. You can't teach your child to walk in the dream world because you're too busy dealing with the world that Freddie has set up for you.
Well, there's some other access. There's some other access ways too. A lot of water, because if you notice dreams, they always talk about waves, and waves is like a flow, and a flow is like a flow of energy. So a lot of water, as well as water under the bed. This is something, And don't ask me why, just some things that we brought from Africa. Now the metaphysical way, based on the electromagnetic force field way, we might have lost that particular information, but this is some things that not only we know, but the Native Americans know, or what you call the Native Indigenous, know that you put water up under the bed, a pan of water, and it catches dreams also too, if you want to. That's one way. Another thing is also when we sleep, because we're in these cities, we don't sleep a deep enough sleep because we always hear noise. So you want to take something to take you under. So there's something natural, you know, to take you under, which is a valerian root. You want to get something, I don't know, he might know something, something,
V-A-L-E-R-I-A-N, HOPS, H-O-P-S.
Yeah.
The serious one to use would be the root, the mandrake. But I would suggest you don't use mandrake unless you're ready to go on.
Yep. So you want it, but what you do want, you want some type of natural sedative to go under, because too often when we dream, we're dreaming on the periphery because of these cities, and because most people live in town now. Most people don't live in a place where you can't see your hand at night. So you got certain amount of aspects of light and things like that. So what you want to do, another thing too, something up against the window. Because we have a natural wake-up clock when the sun come up and shine one time, because basically at night you might wake up 2 or 3, 4, 5 times. You just constantly go back to sleep because you're tired. But what you want to do is to put something up against the window, if you really want to dream, water, as well as take some type of natural sedative to go under, to keep you there enough. But now on the other hand, you have to do something when you get down there. And that particular point is, you can program your mind just by simply telling your mind before you go to bed, look, I want to dream, I want my body to sleep, but I want to stay alert. So basically you can program yourself to actually do that. And like anything else, it's just like when you go in, you want to learn, you want to run track, you got to go out and practice. So everything is based on practice. So once you practice something and get it deep embedded into the psyche, then you actually it becomes a part of you.
The other thing is to learn to fast and purify. Once you start fasting and blowing out the bowels of any of the junk, all the stuff that keeps your blood flowing because of the over amount of digestion going on, gets more blood to the brain. So the more blood crystals you got, the more iron ferrous crystals you got that's carrying oxygen and other nutrients to the brain, the more you start to jumpstart that part. Now they talk about you using only 1/3 of your brain. The reason is that because you don't use both sides properly, or you don't use, like Brother was saying earlier, you're not taught to think on metaphysical terms. You're not taught to think into something, you're taught to recognize surfaces. So you just describe the surfaces while the depth of what you need to describe teaches you how to get to other levels. Well, the reason why you are not taught to do that is because the more you use your brain, the more myelinated it becomes, the more black it becomes. The gray matter is not gray matter when you're a young child. It becomes whitish and pink. The more you use your brain, the darker it gets. So when they come and they open up your brain for autopsy, and they look at your brain, they can tell the level of what it is you use by the amount of dark matter that's in your brain.
Plus, there's also, Brother Steve Freeman talks about this, because he had a lot of training in the yogi aspect of it, and he talked about how there's certain grooves on the brain. So based on how much thought you have, your brain actually, it's just like when you're lifting, and you have certain muscles pop up, and there's a certain definition based on muscles. There's a certain amount of groove, which has to have something to do with a certain amount of energy passing through the brain. And they say we got a lot of slick brain people walking by around here because they're not using that particular function. And so, see, that's the key. What you're talking about here, you're talking about memory. You're talking about an exercise. And basically, what you have to basically do is, I believe personally that America is set up just like the prison system, whereas everybody's in prison. And we always say, well, you know, you're in prison of your mind, but I'm talking about literally the most professional person, or the most person that's the most upward mobile, is more in prison. So my point is a certain amount of development is going as things is getting shut down. And so basically what you're going to have to do also is, this can't be a thing where you just get your knowledge on. It's like a jack off or entertainment period. It's like brother Bill Lilly used to say. I said, well, you know, you coming out? He said, no, I've been stopped going to the lectures. He said, well, I said, why? He said, well, listen, New York is not like other places. Other places, they might get a lecture. They don't have as many lectures, so therefore the people might come out and obtain something. But because New York has around-the-clock thing, the people start using it as, they can't go to the disco no more, so they start going to the actual lecture circuit. So Bill Lilly said, I stopped doing that for the simple fact that I can actually feed off of what's being taught. You see, I would rather get the tape. So my point is, going back to even the memory and the thoughts, you got to train yourself to literally, like the Bible say, be in the world but not of the world. What you spend 24 hours a day not doing but thinking about, our passions is someplace else. Our passions is not with this. You see, it's just that when we say we want to get our lecture on, or our particular feel good on, then we go to the actual lecture. And then when they let out and all this, it's Monday again. But how much do we take this even in the office? You see what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, taking it in the office, so in actuality, you are so perceptive until you can just learn just by the way people function. You know what I'm saying? Just by the way people function. I mean, small shit. Like, take for instance, let me show you some small stuff. They got all these white women as anorexic. You know, because they made this model about them being too skinny. And basically, the average woman got some meat on the bone. Now, the black woman ain't never had that problem, and the black race ain't never had that problem with some meat on the bone. You see what I'm saying? The black woman, the only one can be fat and still be sexy. Yes. But the key is because we didn't fall for that particular pathology. Plus, most black men still like their mama, and the mama got a big butt, so the sister got to have, you know. But my point is, this is the perception. The reason why, what is it that the white man, why is it that this particular white man loves this skinny thing? He's a race of pedophiles. But it's against the law for him to damn have pedophiles. So he said, listen, I'm chasing after that little girl, so I shrank her down. She can be 50, but she gotta look like she gotta have a body of a 10-year-old. So psychologically, he's a pedophile. So therefore, they got to have that weight thing off in the simple fact because they can't have anything to remind them of womanhood. So they took the woman out of Godhead anyway in their religion. Exactly. So they can't have anything to remind them of the feminine principle, but the little girl. It's like Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn had 6 or 7 girls, 17. Yeah. And when they would turn 18, that motherfucker would drop them. You see what I'm saying? So my point is a lot, and what I'm saying is, but there's so much things that you can be aware of, but you got to be turned on into this consciousness 24/7. It can't just be a thing that you just take that hat off the shelf like the Buffalo Lodge Mason and put it on, then go to lodge, then come back out and go into church and start singing some Lord Wash Me Whiter Than Snow. So it's got to be constantly. And that's what the Wu-Tang movies and the whole karate thing was saying, that the guy got his ass whipped for the simple fact that he was still talking about the goddamn technique. And the technique is entertainment. We're looking for damn tools a lot of times without looking at the essence. You see.
Well, I'd say that people get naked and have a star bath.
Hold on, sister got this question.
I just want you to comment on this parade that happened yesterday, and what, if you could just say, the parade for Sammy Sosa, and what Giuliani's real intent was.
Man, you know, sister, love it. She wants to know what this parade was for. Sister wants to know what the parade for Sammy Sosa was about. You know, this is such bullshit. I mean, I don't know, maybe the brothers and sister Dominicans, I don't know if they don't see through this bullshit. They don't. But did you see how they took Ken Griffey out of the picture when they were running this black-white shit going on? They completely cuffed Ken Griffey and took Ken Griffey out the lineup because he was setting pace for them. Then you see them begin to give this white boy all of these balls until he hit 70. Literally, listen, I like to play baseball in the days. I know when somebody is setting me up with a pitch. And if you look at the last 5 he made after 65, they were given to him. Straight down the middle. I could have hit one out the park. But they have to keep it. Remember, just like the quarterbacks in football, they dropping like flies. Most of the cherry positions is the quarterback, and they always white. But when these brothers are 600 pounds and running like they're 200 pounds, and they coming at you like freight trains, and you get hit, you ain't getting up. The only people that seem to be getting up are other brothers who are at quarterback spots. So if you look around now, you see all these brothers getting ready to fill that spot. From over in Pittsburgh, over there in Minnesota, you're going to see more black folks in this particular arena, because now, as you get your money get screwed and you don't have no more money, no more food, they got you on breadlines, they're going to crank up the entertainment. And who's going to need more entertainment than niggas? And you're going to see your black quarterback and you're going to treat him just like Sammy Sosa. You're going to need a hero right now. Because you don't want to hear it. You hearing the grumbles in your stomach, but you clapping now because you ain't paying attention to the fact that you got a growl and a hole in your stomach. Sammy Sosa, bless his heart, the boy hit out what? 60 what? 66? With no steroids. What we talking about the 66? I'd like to find out what his name comes up to being. You do it. I'm just showing you what you could be doing, man. I gave you this equation. It's like Brother Dawood said. We ain't here to be no entertainment figures. I ain't dancing on a string. I ain't taking my clothes off to no Gypsy Rose Lee fucking music. You are here to hear some shit. You take it and you do what you want with it. All right? If you don't have a gun, shame on your ass. If you don't got your psychic powers together, shame on your ass. If you're going to believe everything the television tells you and somebody on the news is giving you the news and you really paying attention? You a sorry motherfucker if you pay attention to the news. You are. I have no pity when they come for your ass and they lock you up. They need to gas more of you motherfuckers. They need to gas more of you people. All you niggas from Messy Jesse on down. Come on.
Earlier you said that the place where we came from, or the Eden, I think you were talking about Eden. It's a quiet place, or maybe what you would call a structured. Okay, the Eden before Adam became supposedly corrupted by Lucifer.
No, it wasn't corrupted by Lucifer.
No, the place before that is what is that? That is not chaos. The place after that is chaos. You said
no.
When
chaos folded over is the attempt to construct order. That's God. That's the germ within.
It's the attempt.
That he was talking about. That's attempting to know itself.
Right.
And the only place that it knows itself. And the only place that it actually knows itself is after on the seventh day. See, what they did in the Genesis was to give you an equation from 1 through 5, and then after that, then 6 and 7. At the point where 6 happened, that's when man showed up. And then there was this quiet point. There's that point where God, after contemplation on itself, in the chaos, began to fold over on itself. And then that numerological value of that contemplation, which we call involution, set the stage to create a vessel for evolution. So we are God's better half because we are the sanity that chaos could never find within itself. We are the order that chaos could never realize. We are the justice that God could never mete out fairly, because if there was an anthropomorphic personal God that's kicking the shit out of those poor people in Papua New Guinea who ain't never did shit to nobody except read their Bible, who are these good Christians whose houses are floating down the street? Who are all these people that worship God and yet still getting their asses kicked? God don't give a shit about who you worship. You are God. And you're the one who can set the weather correct, and you can set all conditions that we are dealing with here, which is the illusion. All the bloodletting is the beast telling you that the cycles for redemption is in your bloodstream. So we can't have that bloodstream pumping and flowing within a whole vessel. We got to have it spilled because we understand by bloodletting, we feed our beast.
We're beyond that chaotic.
Yeah, we are folded over chaos. And that's why we make war with one another, because we are chaos, and chaos makes war. And it's all right to die because you're going to live anyway. Everything is beyond it. This is another phase of war. Everything you're going to do, there's never peace, because after peace there's death. If you are living all in peace, there ain't nothing for you to do. Oh, I'm so peaceful. I know you, and you're so peaceful. The only way I know you is by what you can do to survive, to show me how I can survive. You're trying to kill my ass. I find more about myself than I would ever if I'm coming here shaking your hand trying to find out from you. So all the evil the brother was talking about, evil is good. Where you hear that from? No, Eddie Murphy movie. Eddie Murphy movie. The vampire. Evil is good. Everybody, evil is good. It is good because evil shows you what the good is. If you was good, and that's the reason why I told you that Lucifer was the first redeemer. Because Adam was just walking around, he didn't know his asshole from his elbow. He's walking around, I'm Adam. I'm perfect. I know everything in here. What the fuck do you do after you perfect? Now either you got to come out of that shell like brother was talking about and break through the chrysalis to the next phase of your development, and with that have the luciferous material that brother was talking about, that white substance, that 1 grain can cause a plutonium explosion. That luciferous, which is the light ingrained within your DNA, ingrained within your black dot, that is what is the ceiling breaker. That's what breaks down the walls to your reality today. That's why Lucifer was the first redeemer and then revealed himself as Jesus later on in the back of the Bible in Revelation 22 verse 16. There is no perfect place, because every time perfection sets in, the germ of chaos will always break that shit down. Chaos will never allow perfection to come about to the point where perfection now represents chaos. Chaos would never allow perfection to represent it. See, perfection is not, to be perfect is not the thing. Perfection is not the thing. The actual perfection is perfecting. That's perfection. Because once you have perfected, you're dead. There ain't nothing left of you. I'm sorry. Well, wait. Oh, so he's moved back and forth. Well, no, get his whole name. Three? Oh, well, then he's definitely moved back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, I have actually two questions. This morning I did an experiment on the funny money, the Monopoly, and I realized that I held up like $100 bills, and I realized by putting the second head, the illusion, to the light, I saw on the 10 different $100 bills that they were not the same president. I mean, which was Benjamin Franklin. I realized that none of the heads were alike.
And all of them were new? All of them were the new one. So I want to... Well, I mean, the fact that they got a Ben Franklin up there, and check out Ben Franklin's on the $100 note, and he ain't no president. You got everybody else is a dead president except Ben Franklin. Now what does that mean? You got $100, that number, you got to read that note and check it out. Look at it.
And did anybody do the work and find out what Ben Franklin Illuminati?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Some things is higher than others. What was the other question?
Yeah, the question about the money that they didn't have the same names on the same pictures was in that little waterfall.
Yeah, you got enough?
Yeah, I realize that.
As far as like you were talking about the crystals coming from the pineal gland, they had recently did like an article, I think it was maybe a year ago, I'm sorry, and they found out that the ancient Kemetic priests, every time they meditated, they excreted a certain type of crystal that they found on either in the pyramids or some sort of residue. Is it direct correlation?
Yeah, before he said that, the Tibetan monks, when they used to excrete the urine, people would go to try to catch it. Because after they would do their meditation, so much of the energy that they use and the crystals that they use in the urine, the crystals that they use to change their blood to become more harmonically linked would come out in the urine, and they would use that urine as healing tonics.
Also, you can to get that documented, you need to get McGregor Mather's book, Kabbalah Unveiled.
Yeah.
And in there you'll find they'll talk about the crystalline dew. Now that crystalline dew is supposed to be the mana, and that crystalline dew is nothing but melanin. But they talk about the crystalline dew, and they also give you a Bible verse about that crystalline dew. So to document that, you can get McGregor Mather's book, Kabbalah Unveiled, and talk about that crystalline dew.
And not only that, the crystalline dew is actually the colostrum that is filtered down in the cerebrum. And in Psalms, they talk about, in Psalms, I think it's 108, where the writer of Psalms, who was supposedly Imhotep, he was talking about, under your wings, Father, do I find my solace. If you look at the brain and the top part of the brain, the cerebrum looks like spread wings. And when you start filtering down around your silver cord, there are certain times of the month when that particular part of your brain where the colostrum goes down to frontilicus frontilis, and it goes down that little hollow in the brain and begins to become the crystalline dew that the brother was talking about. That crystalline dew that goes down there is said to be the gift that is given to the body by the gods. That's where you get to the colostrum, the idea behind Santa Claus, the sacred colostrum that goes down in the chimney called the frontilicus frontilis, and you see it in the newborn babe. That crystalline dew now begins to become filtered. Now, if you got your shit together, you begin to raise your kundalini energy. And the first thing that is raised, the 144,000 that is raised, if you can hold on to your sex energies for 12 years, and for 12 years into 12 months, because 12 times 12 is 144, you save a solar and a lunar seed that is made by the Savior in the house of bread. This was Bethlehem. This was the Bethlehem right here. Every 29 and a half days of the month, you create a saving seed that travels your body, sits at the kidneys for 3 days. If you don't use it in sex, it's raised up to sit at the right hand of the Father. You do this successively for 1 year, and you change the crystalline substances in your blood. You do it for 2 years, you change again, 3, all the way up for 12 years. And you have 12 times 12 is 144. At that time, you go to the book of Revelations and you speak about the fact that that lamb that was being led right there, standing before the altars to open up the book of the 7 seals, it's that man that's standing there waiting for initiation. So now he begins to raise the oil, the raw material that is raised inside of what is known as the River Jordan. The River Jordan are these 2 ganglia, these 2 hollow things that run up the spine, the 33 sections. The 33 sections of the spine, that's why they say that you're a 33-degree Mason. When you can, they don't raise none of this shit. These motherfuckers buy their degrees, but we understand where they're talking about. The people talking about raising that 33 in the spine, you raise that. And they say that Jesus was baptized not by John, but of John. John, if you look at the word John, is not J-O-N, because J-O-H-N, they never used the word J. It was I-O-N. So John was essentially the ionic field that is created, and that Jesus seed is baptized of John, of the ionic nuclear power that you have, that you can raise in the form of the twin snakes, the kundalini. When that is raised up, that oil that is raised up, that sludge that is raised up, is the crude oil that becomes crucified on Golgotha, which is the base of the spine, the base of the skull. The name Golgotha and Calvary breaks down to meaning place of the skull. So now you say that Jesus was crucified between what? 2 thieves. You have the Ida and the Pingala nerve. If you use sex, these 2 nerves become attenuated, and then it falls back to earth. The sludge falls back, and you have the lotus, Lot's wife, L-O-T's wife, falling backward and turning into a pillar of salt. So if you understand the Bible, sister, you don't throw the Bible away. You just understand what it means. So now you crucified Jesus, or the Savior, or Christ. Christ means oil, or anointed one. So at that particular bridge, Christ becomes crucified or crossified. Crucified doesn't mean to kill. It means to increase. So the crude oil that you're raising up by your energies, by the breath, by your pranic energies, becomes crucified on the mound of Golgotha. Now it's crossed and it becomes refined. After it becomes refined, it shoots to the third eye, or the first eye. And yet Jesus said, thine eye must be one. So as soon as that particular oil becomes qualified, now you open up the lamp of God, you light the lamp of God that taketh away the sins of the world. And now you become Peter, who upon this rock you build your church, and the gates of hell, or passion, lust, shall not prevail against them. That's what that's about in the Bible.
Can you explain how you use these numbers, and when if I use them to figure out people's name or figure out something, how would they help me? How could I use them?
Another number?
Yeah.
I don't know if you were here yesterday, brother, but I told everybody, don't be going around looking at everybody's name and trying to do it. Well, what you do is you go to the Bible, and every time you listen to your minister talk, start using his, even check his name. If you don't trust your minister, check his name. See if he comes down to 666. Or check the words and the names in the Bible, because the names of people didn't exist. They actually are principles. And then you use that story to deal with the principles inside of your body.
So they got to send, number, right? So how do you use that? How do you use it?
You use it to identify where, what, when, why, and how, just as you would use a signpost. This guy says one way, that says the 125th Street, you know where you're at.
All right, so if I get number 114 or 214, what does that mean?
What you do is you just factor down. If it comes down to 444, you add them all together. 4, 8, 12. 12 becomes 3, and then you understand. 2 and 1 makes 3. And right now, what we're going to do is I can talk to you a little bit afterwards, and we can clarify a little bit further. Yes.
Expanding on the previous sister's question about God and the Bible, if we are the question, the answer, and the solution, then there's no need to look outside of ourselves. Who is the higher power? Who is God? Is God still God? And if so, is there a point to prayer?
Okay.
Because Christianity...
Is there a point to prayer? Is there a higher power?
And Christianity teaches us that God is better than ourselves, so we are supposed to unleash our burdens and let God take care of it. But if we are God, then we are supposed to take care of our burdens. I just want you to expand on that.
There's a greater explanation. You must understand there's a greater explanation. And I'll give you the lighter version of it is, to explain this thing, is it's no different than an army where you have a chain of command. First of all, what we call God is nothing but a whole bunch of energy. That's an unmanifested energy, which really ain't shit. Nothing. It's called the nothing. It is through man, who is the agent, that is the perfecter, or what you call the perfecting agent. It's almost like you got a old fat ass old man about 90 years old, and he's in the head of a crime family, and everybody is scared of him, not because he can go out and kill. The hitman actually goes out and actually kills. So in actuality, we are the only manifestation or the only energy of God, period, because that's called nothingness. And from the nothing, you get the absolute. So in actuality, it's an extension. It is an extension of the same action. You see what I'm saying? But as far as it being a high power, it ain't shit. It's nothing. It's not anything for the simple fact that it made itself to be something, and what it made itself to actually manifest was us. So we are the only manifestation of that what you call God. You see?
You say about the power of prayer. As far as you projecting prayer, if you are projecting prayer, and the problem we have as people who keep the ceiling of this paradigm that we're in on it, is that we are dependent on something that we think is greater than ourselves. But everything that has ever shown itself to be a miracle has been based upon what man or woman has done for the other person, or what they in their heart has awakened to. Now your needs alone are God's needs. Remember I told you that chaos is a principle that is. It is the nothing. You look at that movie, what's that thing, Forever? The Never-Ending Story. Right. They were worried about the nothing. The nothing was dying, and nothing was taking over every fucking thing. The nothing was going back to itself. What did the nothing need? The nothing needed somebody to dream. The nothing needed somebody to put something in there so that nothing knew that it was something.
It also needed that the nothing needed someone to know about nothing.
Yes.
Everybody had forgotten about Fantasia.
Exactly. And Fantasia is everything that you have created based upon how God saw itself when it became something. So now that it was becoming nothing, hey, I don't want to lose what it is that I have become now that I was nothing and now I'm something. Now, don't even ask me to repeat that shit. When you pray, you have been taught to pray for something outside of yourself, so immediately you've defeated the purpose of prayer. If you are praying, then that should be a form of meditation to harness your power, not to ask for shit. Because if you go up and looking for a welfare check, that might as well be a prayer. You're getting it answered.
When you're praying, you have been taught to think it's some man up there.
Yes.
You're the only thing that can even receive anything to give you energy back to do anything is yourself. So actually, prayer is a modified way of meditation where you literally speak to yourself to give yourself.
Hello.
You've just been fooled to thinking there's some other cracker up here with some other sick-ass crackers around some table and all, which the upper room, in the upper room, that's your fucking damn Godhead. You see what I'm saying? So going back, you are the agent.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
See, the priest did that to you. The
Yes.
priest did it to you to make them powerful. The priest told you that you had to cut up a calf and send it to them. The priest told you you had to pray and give alms every Sunday. It's the priest that set up a personal God to make you believe you created an original sin. But the only original sin that was created by the Creator. So the Creator created the original sin. Why are you taking the blame for shit you ain't had nothing to do with? So now here you are worrying about the original sin and praying to God for somebody to give you clarity about what it is you're supposed to get as your reward. And if you're good now and you go to church, if you're good now and do as the Bible says, and they tell you niggas is always singing, Jesus, finish this sentence, and I know you know how to say it. Jesus loves me, this I know. See, you niggas, you are well trained. You motherfuckers are well trained. The Bible told you so. When the fuck Jesus ever tell you he loves you? You ever met the motherfucker? Right. But you are seriously caught up in this Jesus shit. That's the biggest virus going on right now. Because this shit is eating a hole in your own soul. You don't even know who you are now unless somebody interprets the shit for you. You got a doctor to interpret your diseases. He tells you what your disease is and uses your own power of thought to create the symptom. Then you go to church to try to find some form of eclectic shit to give you some comfort, and the priest tells you, use this virus to get rid of the other fucking virus you're dying from.
It's a form of a cliche. It's almost like, how do I know it's God? Woke up this morning. Motherfucking goddamn dog over there.
Yeah.
Waking up don't constitute shit.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead, Jake.
See, now we can't hear it.
There is no death.
What becomes death, she asked?
There is no death, sister. There is only change. There is no death. Don't even think that you're going to heaven, all this shit. You know where the heaven shit came from? Dante's Inferno. When that motherfucker wrote that shit in 1600, everybody began adopting that shit about purgatory and everybody. There was motherfuckers lining up with money because the priest said you could buy your way into purgatory. And you had that shit going to the step-down trip, and now you're going to buy your way into heaven because you say, I passed the hat. How much you gave? You didn't give minister? No, man, I gave only $10. Well, shit, you think you get into heaven today? Bullshit. You ain't give enough. And that's what it's all about. The word angel, sister, comes from the word angle. A-N G-E-L is L-E. The E-L, sister, is God. It's that which is elevated. The angle, essentially, is the way the light focuses itself and crosses and makes a nexus at you. You are the nexus point for the configuration of specific light codes. So the angles that come in tell you what your consciousness levels are based upon how high your crystals of frequencies are vibrating at that time. That's how consciousness is. Consciousness is a vibratory level. Anybody could be conscious, but can you be aware? That's the trick. Anything is conscious. The goddamn rock is conscious. You see? But how do you use that consciousness?
An angel can just simply be anything. You have an angel in the body called a holy guardian angel. You can call it. But you have spirits in the body and spirits out of the body. So anything can be a damn angel. That ain't nothing but some fucking energy. You know what I'm saying? It's like the whole concept of angel. Hell, your parents are angels. You see what I'm saying? Or anything that doesn't live in the physical body is considered an angel. But that doesn't necessarily mean, somebody on the right hand of heaven and the whole 9 yards like that. No.
Well, I still want to talk about the quickly got something on the Nicene Council to do with the Christianity.
Oh.
My question is, see, I want to
Go ahead, we repeat it.
Go ahead. Oh, God.
When I go listen to this damn thing in heaven, I can't hear it.
Thank you. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm mean anyway. When I asked him, I thought you were just going to go on into it for me. I wanted to know at the Nicene Conference, isn't that the place where Jesus Christ really was born from? And what books can we get to read? Because I want to read some stuff on this.
Okay, you can read all of Hotima's books. Hotima got some serious breakdowns on that. They're out there right now. Hilton Hotima broke down some serious information on the Nicene Council. You can also read Antiquity Unveiled, that breaks that whole thing down. You can also read some of the books that are on the Nicene Council, but you got to go into the churches. They have it in some of the Vatican libraries. They have some of those things in the St. John's Cathedral. What's that place up there? St. John the Divine. They got information on the Vatican, and it was the 325 that they started that shit. Remember, Jesus didn't come around until around 6 to 10 AD when they got the idea to speak about Jesus Christus or Krishna. Because remember, Apollonius of Tyana went to learn over at the Bodhisattva over in India. And he brought all that information about Krishna and that whole story about Krishna over and began teaching it to all of these white folks. So they began incorporating that in there.
Plus, there's more written about Jesus in commentary around the world, millions of books on Jesus, than it is spoken about him in the Bible. It's almost, if you add up most of the stuff that's in the Bible, Jesus is the least thing talked about. There's most stuff written on Jesus. That means that you have a people literally carving a story. But the Afrocentric people made a lot of that stuff available. You go right out in front of the Martin, find all the Conference of Nicaea books and stuff. Actually, that's damn near elementary. As far as because Ben and Clark and them whipped that shit to death a long time ago. I would suggest some of the better things to get is to get some of the actual texts that weren't added into the actual canonical, as well as the book, the other Bible, which is great because that gives you the Gnostic text, it gives you the Book of Enoch, it gives you a pseudepigrapha, it gives you even give you some Hermetic scripture. So I think that's one of the best books for your money, about $39. That other Bible, the big blue book is by Brownstone. Brownstone. It's called the Other Bible by Brownstone, which gives you basically, like I said, several scriptures that's outside. It gives you the whole Apocrypha and all, but and it also gives you Dead Sea Scrolls. So I think it's for your money worth. I think it's one of the better buys out here and all.
But they also need to get, Bobby, they need to get the Babylonian text. They need to get the Babylonian text about Nebuchadnezzar and Sargon. All of those pieces of information is where they started pimping the story of Moses. All of these particular stories are out, and get Gerald Massey's book. you'll see the story of Heru, Osiris, all of them. Everything has to do with Christianity is in all of these other books.
And a great book now, it's been out a year, written by the Jewish head of the Archaeological Society, white boy, the Bible Myth. It's hardback. It was the Moses Mystery, but I think he got attacked by the Jews, so he put the same book in softback called the Bible Myth. What's the name of the guy?
Greenberg. Oh,
Richard, Alex
right.
Greenberg or something. Richard Greenberg, excellent book.
Another book, Bible Myths, Misconceptions, and what's the other name again? Misconceptions and Myths of the Bible by Graham. No, this is by Graham. Misconceptions and Myths of the Bible by Graham.
Oh yes, I want to know if you could touch like about aerobics and working out, physical fitness, and how it breaks down the body.
The brother is talking about health issues. Aerobics are military exercises. Okay, that's good. We want to prepare. But for me, you want to deal with anything, you start dealing with some of the martial arts. Kung Fu. Oh yeah, well, pumping iron and stuff. Yeah, well, you can lift weights. That's all right. That's cool in the game. You can lift weights. If you're eating properly, and if you're focusing your attention into building yourself up, not to just be looking pretty, but to actually keep the tone in your body, to put the right food in your body, and go ahead.
I think that the martial arts would be a better tool. I'll tell you why. Because see, when you do something that's totally physical, there is no school of thought behind lifting weights.
None.
You see what I'm saying? So therefore, you become the physical body as the results get better. One thing with any type of martial arts or Tai Chi and all that, in order to actually gain from it, you're going to have to deal with the other side, which is the mind side. And I think that in actuality, that's why if you notice that the martial arts was in the 70s, you know, the karate movie, martial arts was real big. Then it had it died a little bit, and then all this aerobic stuff, as far as the aerobic class. My point is even if you do that, you're going to have to balance it off and all. And the reason why I say that is because I have a friend that personally went to the other side of that physical lifting weight type thing. You see what I'm saying? So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, if it's part of, as you say, if it's enhanced by you taking, as I was saying in the beginning, the martial arts, and then you want to enhance what it is that you're receiving and gaining from martial arts, then you have a whole package. Because like brother said, you don't need too much of a brain to be picking up weights. You know, anybody dealing with that particular mentality, that's fine. If they want to just build up, to just husk up. But if they are doing things that have to do with focusing and centering the mind, like in Tai Chi, or in Kung Fu, or in Qigong, then you're putting together the energy that you would put as Yang, now you temper it with Yin. And then you have a whole person to be balanced. I hope that helps you, brother. Make sure you put the proper fuel into your system as well. All right? Thank you, beloved.
All right. I have a question for someone else, but actually I'm going to start out by saying first, in response to that question, the person wants to know that if words are in fact a vibratory force, then why do we use the term nigger? I know, of course, that the word nigger is an alchemical term that's referencing to what I was talking about earlier, the Negrito stage, which is also symbolically represented by an Ethiopian. So the term nigger or Negro is not a negative term in the context of what it means as far as transformation. But I would like, you to give a little further, either one of you two, on that.
Again, we are using the English language. When you use the English language, there is a ceiling or a canopy of perception that goes with the words that we use. Those will now infect you with a specific response. Nigger used to accompany getting cut off. Nigger used to be accompanied by your neck getting stressed. So in true fashion of Willie Lynch syndrome, the word nigger now, instead of it being the alchemic principle that's supposed to resurrect the black dot, now becomes the ceiling of pain that you now transduce and transmute like you are. Because all alchemy is about transmutation. So if the words now have been given a specific perceptual matrix that you are filtering your meaning through, You are now fucked up because your programming center is now sending signals of information via pain to your cells, and your cells learn through your experiences. Okay? I hope that.
Yep. But on one other hand, I think that and it's not just piggybacking off the nigger, but I think on a lot of things that's happening is the archetype of the collective unconscious is breaking through. Is how is it that you can have some brothers out in California that all of a sudden their friends start getting killed, getting smoked, and all of a sudden they just think of this ritual where they take the doggone 40s and pour them in the doggone water. The brothers ain't here. So we're talking about something actually breaking through and coming through to another point, whereas that's some type of archetype. Some type of transmigration and all. And there's a lot of you got to look at. There's a lot of that particular thing actually happening too.
The sister over here was saying she did the alchemical and mathematical persuasion on the word nigger, and it came up to be 360 degrees.
Yeah. Well, I will put it this way.
Or 9. Yeah.
Well, I'll put it this way.
That's why we say, nigga, what you doing?
I'll put it this way. On cable last year, they had this white guy had this campaign to try to get black people from saying nigger.
They want to come politically and word correct?
Yeah.
I just wanted to know, what do you think is the role of women in the whole consciousness movement?
Well, I can say one thing, and I can only go by what's been happening from the tip of Florida to damn Pennsylvania, is that you can be domesticated. We got to get out of this domestication of the mind. What I mean by that is literally what we call this domestic animal is a white man's creation based on his woman. The sister has always been the matriarch. And what I can say about it is based on this mentality is, you got a lot of sisters now, and I'm just going by what I know. You got a lot of sisters now that's thinking that any type of consciousness or anything outside of family is a male's job as far as his consciousness. You understand what I'm saying? Whereas somebody is trying to tell you not to think a certain doggone way. In the goddess ritual, the ancient goddess ritual, there's supposed to be a certain amount of sisters that incarnate that in actuality is warriors in the aspect, not necessarily physical, but mental. So what I'm trying to say is we got a lot of sisters that's domesticated in the mind based on they think that anything consciousness is alien to them as a woman, and that's not necessarily true. And so basically you can't separate wisdom from womanhood. The word Sophia, divine Sophia, means wisdom. You see what I'm saying? So this is a big problem that has been going on since we've had a movement, is that we equate any type of consciousness as a male thing. And it's not necessarily the people in here, because this is all the people in here is basically preaching to the converted. But I'm trying to say there's people out here, there's other people out here that say, well, that's a man's thing. And the reason why I say that is I was at a damn cookout back in '96. And when we was talking about all kind of bullshit, everybody was together. And as soon as the brothers start talking about consciousness, the group of sisters got up and walked in the damn room. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? You see what I'm saying? So right now, what happens with me, if a brother steps to me and goes, yo, man, I got some conscious thing, man. Can you step in the other room? And my mate there, I'll be like, look, you can't say the shit around my goddamn girl. I don't want to hear this shit. It ain't worth you even saying. Any damn thing in that particular point. I'm not talking about no motherfucking rites of passage bullshit where you gotta raise a certain male. No, I'm a grown fucking man and I'm two halves of the same entity. So my point is, it's got to be a doggone unison and a joint effort. So my point is, you know, some people really, you know, gonna separate and go and say some things that's not around the woman. Me and my woman is one. You see what I'm saying? Is one. And so therefore, any brother comes, I don't let him separate the sisters out of it. So what happens is, we were at, and this is very interesting because this is the case study. We were at some friend's house last October of last year, and immediately when we were outside talking consciousness, this other sister took to the other sister and said, "Come on, let's go to the doggone grocery store." Oh, fuck that shit. What the hell? We talking consciousness, and you go exclusive shit to take your monkey ass to a goddamn grocery store? This is some primitive fucking shit. So the other sister told my sister, "Hey, let's go to the damn grocery store." And she's like, "I don't want to go to no goddamn grocery store. The brothers out here talking shit. You talking about going to some damn grocery store?" So we talking about getting out of here. So my domestication is not a physical domestication, saying you don't clean your home or you don't take care of your child. I'm saying a mental thing. You can't be domestic in the mind because that's based on this Eurocentric bullshit, a second-class citizen.
Yeah. Thank you, brother. As Jimi Hendrix said, it's 6 for 9. The number of man is 6, but when you put the womb into it, it becomes 9 with the intrinsic 666 in it, which shows you that the higher harmonics and the X factor, the X file, the X chromosome, the X every damn thing, the X rays that the sun is giving off right now, has to do with the new Eve. And if the sisters are the vessel whereby the new Eve is to be born through her wisdom, through her mother wit, you got to get her out of the work fucking force. You got to get her out the education system. You can't tell her nothing right now because she's liberated, whatever the fuck that means. But until she gets out of that bullshit, 6 can never become 9 because the 9 cycle and the harmonic is vibrating in her womb. And it is in your womb, sister, that you teach the next generation through the harmonics of your bloodstream that child pulls her information, his nutrients from. It is within that tabernacle, inside of that tabernacle, that you give life to the next version of that harmonic. The baby is the harmonic of the consciousness that you vibrate on. So if your harmonic is distorted, what kind of children are you kicking out from in there? If you're bleeding 7 and 8 days and hemorrhaging 7 and 8 days, sisters, how is your blood crystal, which is the harmonic evaluator, going to be bringing forth genius children when most of your life is leaking away? Do you know that a woman within a year's period of time could bleed enough blood to make a whole person? Now, when you bleeding your life away like that, sister, 6 can never become 9. And you have to know that the actual temple and tabernacle for the resurrection of the new physical paradigm must come from the womb. And if your brain is in the education system, if your brain is in there trying to get your Oprah Winfrey, what the fuck is this new movie she got out there now, beloved? Why can't that bitch come off the plantation? That bitch got $40 billion, but she always paying some poor ass. Can't you see it? The color purple, every place you go, the only thing they got is because they got them niggas that keep that ceiling on. She's supposed to keep that ceiling on, that beloved. What the fuck is that beloved? No, and I don't give a shit about seeing it because that's bullshit. Anything with Oprah Winfrey, anything with Harpo, I don't want to see with that bitch. That bitch is a sellout, man. Did you see her when Steven Spielberg, Nolan, was on a show to push that bullshit Amistad? She was down there like Monica Lewinsky. That motherfucker walked on like king shit. And if you looked at that program, they had that buck nigga naked there. You couldn't have him looking like he's supposed to be sing you with a sword in his hand. They had that nigga standing up there, a full-fledged, life-size version of this nigga naked. Like he was on a block, and the bitch was selling him. And then in the movie, I had to find out, because I couldn't go there, because I'd have to go and kill some people when I walked out of that shit. I heard that they had this dumb nigga with a Bible in his fucking hands talking about, oh, you Jews suffered more than my people. How come somebody go up to Spielberg and boom? What kind of shit is that? And you suck that up. Oh, wasn't that such a good movie? That bitch, Debbie, who's that, Debbie Allen? You believe that shit? She had to get up on Steven Spielberg's desk and do an African dance for him? And you love that shit. You go to them movies. You're going to go and see Beloved. Don't tell me no shit. You're going to go and see it. All of y'all, the women going to pull the boys in there to see it. You watch. So you want to go see Beloved. Fuck a Beloved. Word.
You were kind of saying that you're against, not kind of, you were saying that you're against educating women or the way we act after we've gotten education. But a lot of times people get education. I know you know this, I'm just asking. People get education because they're just trying to find means of feeding themselves. A lot of times you don't have the man there to feed you the way we would most likely like. So what are these supposed conscious women supposed to do in the meantime to feed the kids?
Okay, I'm not telling you that this is the paradigm, you drop everything now, but I'm going to give you a scenario before I turn it over to Brother Bobby. Now here's something. See, niggas don't want to suffer. They want the revolution to put them in a fucking cushion and float them into the next time. Y'all want to be led in like they told you to the promised land. I've been there on the mountain and all that bullshit. You believe that shit. You go to church, you inherit the promised land. But you don't want to suffer. You don't want to bleed. Now, sisters, I'm not telling you to come out to college. I'm telling you got to come out to college. You shut the system down and teach yourself what you need to know. You know them sisters in the Philippines go all the way through college, get a PhD, and don't go looking for no job. They go looking for the husband to raise the child and teach them their damn self. That's all they do. And it's funny because now he destroyed the male so he can't help to take care and provide. And he got you out there busting your ass to get a dime so you could pay for your children. The children don't belong to you because it belongs to the state. So you actually working to keep the property of the state fed. But wait a minute now. I'm going to put a scenario up to everybody. What if you, learning the principles of fasting and meditation, you don't buy shit from none of the stores for a month. You don't go to the fucking subways to go to work for a month. You don't turn on your lights for a month. You don't do shit, the television, nothing. You shut this bad thing down for a month. Can you do that? Can you shut down the habits that you have formed? Can you stop doing the bullshit that keeps this beast keeping you in misery? No, because you like your television. You like your Mickey D hamburgers. You like all this shit. You like to be entertained. But you don't want to suffer. You don't want them Miss Meal cramps. You don't want to deal with what it is that comes down when you don't have food or drink. You don't want to shut him down at the source, because if you ain't buying shit, guess what? That motherfucker will come to you hat in hand. He will find a way to find you to do something for him, because the secret behind this shit is because you are participating in his shit. The more you participate, the more powerful he gets. You stop participating, Gandhi, that motherfucker showed you what the deal was. He stopped doing everything and shut the whole goddamn country down. 90 billion motherfuckers stopped doing everything. And the British Empire started cringing. If you stop participating, and that's the trick, he keeps your attention. That's what Bobby was saying. He keeps your attention. He keeps you looking in one direction because he don't want you concentrating in the other. If you shut him down, shut the television, the radio, the movies, his food, all of that shit off, he ain't got a way into you. Now he got to come and shoot you. He got to show you what he really wants to do or has to do. But if you stop buying everything that belongs to him and you stop aggrandizing the beast, he will die. You keep him alive. You are the beast. Yeah, all right.